Well, we get it rolling on the Krueg Show on a Friday night. Hope everybody's having a good night. Better night than the Warriors had in the second quarter. Man, that thing was ugly in the second quarter. Welcome to the Krueg Show. Hope you enjoyed Warrior basketball. Hope you're enjoying your Friday, getting ready for a big weekend of college and pro football, NBA basketball, NHL hockey, you name it. It's on this weekend. It's kind of that time of the year, baseball playoffs. But welcome to the Krueg Show. And tonight we have, back by popular demand, the great Ryan Smith in the top box. Opposite me there in the bottom corner, the great Carl Foster. And we have a new person in the chat, Eric Price, who I was told went to Reardon, so he's a Crusader. We'll just call him Bay Area Baller. He's in the bottom box. The great Dan Coccimilgio is going to crash this party, I would imagine, at some point, eating as he comes into the mix. He'll be snacking on breakfast cereal. He'll be snacking on basically anything that his wife is willing to make him in Mesa, Arizona. At his over 55, his 55 and over community. And don't try to roll into this community if you're 56, because Danny ain't gonna let you in. There you go. Now Dan's got the. So now we instantly have to. We have to mute Dan because he's got the TV going in the background. Party foul. Already party foul. So we'll mute Danny as he gets technically up to speed wearing his Warrior hat. He's up to speed. So now we bring Danny back in. We unmute him. Dan joins us from the 55 and over community, so they are represented here on the live stream. La Boca Vista, hello. Say hi to Morty. No, but and then back by popular demand, not yet appearing in the green room, but eventually he'll get the munchies and he'll wander back there. And that's Cyrus Satsis, the man who's locked on, like when you're trying to spit, locked on Warriors with Cyrus Satsis, locked on. All right. But he's not locked into the green room just yet, but he's invited. And we invited Kylan Mills to invite, to have some female participation in this sausage fest. But I don't know if she's going to come or not. But guys, you know what? It's a party, so let's not worry about who's not here. Let's worry about who is here. Hello to all of you. And what the hell happened in the second quarter? Does anybody want to take it and run? The Warriors, by the way, pretty decent ball game. Golden State was down 18.5 because they were horrendous in the second quarter. They shot 28% in the second quarter. Golden State in the first half, guys, 5 of 22 on threes. Denver was +9 on the glass. You combine don't rebound and don't shoot, and that usually means you don't win. Golden State did come back. They went on a 15-5 run to cut it to 10. And it looked like they were going to jump back in it. It was a 10-point game at the end of 3. Not a good night for Jordan Poole. Through 3 quarters, he'd only taken 3 shots in 22 minutes. He was 1 of 3. Golden State tried to battle back with a little run in the fourth quarter, but ultimately Denver gets it 128-123. And Golden State, Denver nearly blew it there. Bones Highland turned it over deep in his own end. It's like he did the fundamental worst thing you could ever do, Carl. He's in the corner. He's getting doubled. He flips it back to the rim, and Poole jumps in front of Jokic, grabs it, lays it in, and it looked like, wow, maybe Golden State's going to pull this incredible come from behind, victory, this comeback, incredible comeback. But instead, Denver gets the 5-point win, 128-123, 6 Nuggets in double figures. Denver gets the win despite no Jamal Murray. Clay missed a key 3 at the end. It didn't look good coming off his hand. So, guys, Denver, who went 3-1 against the Warriors last year in the regular season, only to see the Warriors come back and go 4-1 in the playoffs. They're up 1-0 on Golden State in this regular season. And all I would say is I went to Warriors Nuggets last year right around the holidays, and Golden State really got beat bad in that game. And it was kind of like this game. They got beat worse than the final score, and they came back late to make it look close. But, sometimes teams have your number, and it looks like Denver, at least in the regular season, may have their number. So who wants to go first? That's my assessment of the game. I haven't looked at the final box here. I'm going to call it up and take a peek at it. But I know that Jordan Poole did not have a good game. I don't have to go too far to say that. Poole off the bench, 2 of 5, 0 for 2 from 3, 27 minutes. He had 7.7 assists, 1 board. I just expect more from him offensively generally in these games. But what do you guys think of the performance?
I'll jump in because I'll keep it short and sweet and let you guys all cook. It was kind of a bummer of a game because it's not a great indication as far as like if you bet on the Warriors over wins. It kind of looks like, and even just as a guy who we all went through that playoff run last year, it was a very high level of intensity. It's kind of hard to really get locked back in. For Denver, they're like, okay, it's revenge time. We got Jamal Murray back. We felt like we didn't have anybody. These teams, like even Boston, looks like they're locked. They look like the Warriors in 2016, like pissed off that they lost the finals and ready to prove something. The Warriors are going to struggle with this, and I think that the Poole thing is a good indication because I feel like obviously Curry's not going to go insane inferno, play a million minutes Curry this year. Poole he's got that contract now. He's kind of got to carry some of the load and get everybody fired up. Same thing with Wiseman. The youngins got to provide some energy. And so I just say it felt like they played their C game just like the Lakers game. It's just that the Lakers are worse. So.
And I think the one thing you have to look at, and Ryan, you did a good job of kind of breaking that down. You could feel there was a lack of energy in the gym. It was kind of almost like a summer league game at certain times in the first quarter. There was a lot of scoring. The ball was moving around. Both teams were shooting it really well. Neither team was really grinding defensively. Denver kind of found a little bit of lightning in that second quarter, were able to kind of exert themselves physically, particularly the ability for Jokic to be able to identify opportunities. And then you also just had a player that was on the floor that I said the other night when we were talking about Denver as a potential opponent, that I think she's going to be an outstanding player in this league, and that's Bones Highland. He's got Lou Williams written all over him. He's got a unique ability to attack bigger defenders and draw contact. As I said, Denver's going to be a heck of a team to knock out when playoff time comes, and particularly if Jamal Murray can get himself back to where he was at some point during the season.
Bruce Brown was a tone setter as well.
Yeah, I was going to say the Browns, the two Browns, the kid from Kansas and then Bruce Brown played excellent games. And, when you get behind by 20, it's tough because now you got to make these runs and you get wiped out when you make the runs. And then Denver, the team that's being pushed, all of a sudden they make a run, then you got to make another run. And that's just kind of life in the NBA. It's a game of runs, and the Warriors just got too far behind tonight. They didn't play very good defense the first half, and it cost them because they gave up 70 points in the first half, 40 in the first quarter. That's, you can't give a team that big of a lead and expect just to come back because you're the champs and you're at home.
And you have to give credit too, though. I just want to make sure that we say this. Draymond Green did an amazing job of trying to bring energy to bring him back.
Yeah.
And I know our big baller's about to come in here, but I thought that was a real turning point for the Warriors in the third quarter. But it was very clear. They were in coast mode. When you give up 70 points in the first half, clearly it wasn't your priority to come out and really establish yourself.
So for those who don't know Bay Area Baller, he went to Reardon. That's all I'll say. He went to, go Cats, get them Cats, go get them Cats. Now from Reardon, Bay Area Baller. No, I'm just joking. I'm not crushing you or anything. But Danny, this is Bay Area Baller, Eric, and that's Ryan, of course, Carl. All right, Bay Area Baller.
Yeah.
Give us your breakdown. What'd you think?
Yeah. Like Dan said, the first half, the defensive rotations were sloppy. I thought we were over-helping, leaving shooters open. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. was hitting open threes. And Michael Porter Jr., man, that guy is back. This is not the same Nuggets team that we played in this past postseason, right? Austin Rivers isn't out there getting 25 minutes. You got Michael Porter Jr., Bruce Brown's looking good. And we got hammered on the boards, too. Nikola Jokic, the 2-time MVP, he was phenomenal. He's a tough cover no matter who's matching up with him. I thought he gave Looney a tough time, early on in that first quarter, kind of beating him up down low. I thought Wiseman actually came in, held up pretty well. Our bench performance was awful tonight. If you look at the plus minus, everyone off the bench was awful. The starters were in the positive in terms of plus minus, but the bench was terrible with the exception of Wiseman. I got on my Wiseman
Don't you think, Eric, that has a lot to do with the fact that Golden State couldn't throw it in the ocean in that second quarter, and most of those guys put up a lot of their minutes in that quarter?
It does. Yeah. And I wanted to acknowledge Wiseman. I finally got to dust off the Wiseman jersey. I bought it his rookie year, right? I was all pumped up, and we know how that went. Injury year 1, year 2. So now the jersey's ready to roll. I thought he looked pretty good tonight. He was one of the few bench players I thought that performed well. But, defensively, I thought it was sloppy, especially in that first half.
Yeah. Yeah. Their rotations, like you said, they're off, and even offensively, just incorporating some of the guys. They're not reading the backdoor cuts, or they're not, Curry and Green or throwing it one way, and then Jermichael Green is breaking another way at times, and it's going to take time. My theme is, I got my own theme too here.
Trade for Ohtani. What do you got?
Relax. This
honestly, Dan, that kind of sums up this team. I feel like they might be a little too relaxed, and they're so good that they could probably roll like this and still win 48 games.
This team, I'm telling you what this team is going to do. They are going to win 50 to 55 games and be ready to go in the playoffs. They're not going to push themselves to try and get the number 1 seed. If it falls their way, they'll take it, but they're not going to be, oh shoot, we're two games behind. We got to, they're not going to play guys to the extent of wearing them out for the playoffs. So
they're breaking in the young guys too, Dan. They're
exactly.
getting these young guys up to speed because, they may not be quite ready to contribute this moment, but later on in the season, come playoff time,
these young guys are, these young guys are. We think they're awesome, and they have unbelievable ability and talent, but left to themselves, they're just the Houston Rockets. If you put all these young guys out there, they're only valuable and super valuable is because of the mix of Curry, Green, and Thompson and Wiggins and even Iguodala, coaching and playing coaching. These guys, without these vets, they would be good in a few years, but they would struggle if we just played all the young guys.
I kind of thought DiVincenzo was bad tonight.
He was.
I kind of was looking for more from DiVincenzo. In fact, that's a big, to me, if there's anything that, how are the Warriors in any way not as good as last year? To me, it's not about the other guys as much as it's about GP2 and the GP2 to DiVincenzo swap. GP2 could lock up, everybody's best offensive player and bother him, where DiVincenzo has got more of a floor game. But tonight we really didn't see a lot from him. I do see the smoke billowing coming out of the green room. And I see most of our snacks are gone, and somebody just tapped the keg, and now there's people back there. All right, back by popular demand. The man who's locked on Warriors.
I'm glad this isn't an audio only.
What's up, Cy? What's going on, man? We were just talking a little bit about this performance, and Al925 says Draymond should punch Poole for this performance. LOL. All right,
one maybe thing about Draymond. I'll say this about Draymond. He played not only a great game, but one thing that will probably get very overlooked was the very end of the game when Jokic almost got hurt. I videotaped. In fact, I just sent it to you, Rye. If Draymond was anybody else in the league, he would have. Draymond intentionally pushed his arms from falling onto Jokic and just blowing his knee out. I got to give it up to Draymond for, they say Draymond, a lot of people say he's dirty and stuff. He was protecting Jokic there. If you watch that,
to me, it looked like, when you're fighting with a younger sibling and all of a sudden maybe you accidentally kind of smack them or push them and they fall over and start crying and you immediately run up to him. You're like, oh, no, it's okay. That's what it looked like to me.
Take a look at the video.
It could have been worse.
He actually was going for the ball. And as the ball kind of fell away, Draymond braced himself from actually falling on his knee. He would have tore his ACL in several places. He would have ACL, MCL. That would have been a messed up knee if Draymond's weight fell on Jokic. So I think he intentionally tried to brace himself at the expense of he could have hurt himself the way he tried to brace. So, I'll just say that for Draymond. I thought it was a good, classy move.
Classy move for Draymond not to take out Jokic for the season. All right, Sai, what'd you think? What'd you think of the performance?
I wouldn't consider it discouraging at all, simply because the Warriors bench is so young. There's going to be growing pains this year. That the Nuggets are good. I mean, Bruce Brown is a solid pickup for him as a free agent acquisition or trade. I can't remember how they got him, but dude, I mean, and then Christian Braun, I was hyping up this offseason as a great draft pick for him. So their bench is actually really good. And the Warriors bench will be better. It's just not there yet. So I'm not discouraged. I also, one thing I loved is seeing Draymond Green and JaMychal Green on the court together. JaMychal talked about that in the preseason a lot, about being excited about those two being out there, using words, I think, like nasty. They're a menacing duo, and if the Warriors didn't have that horrible first half, they probably would have pulled it off. But I'm not discouraged at all. It's early, and their bench is young. So,
well, one of the things we talked about, Cyrus, the other day was looking at some of the other teams that could potentially be challengers for the Warriors, and the Nuggets name came up. There was a very light representation of your respect for their bench, but one of the things that happens over the course of time is we get to see how teams that have picked up players that sometimes don't necessarily make the headlines, you find out just how good they are. I mean, Larry, you just mentioned GP2. No one knew how good Gary Payton II could be until they saw him in a system where he fits. And Bruce Brown looked amazing last year on the Nets. And he looks like he's going to fit in equally well on the Denver Nuggets. And so I think Denver goes 9 deep. I think they're going to be a really tough out. I think they were fired up, like you said, Ryan, to play the game tonight and put themselves in a position where they could get a little get back. But let's be honest, we all know the Warriors, as you said, Dan, are not going to focus on the regular season as much, more so trying to find the continuity and combinations that are going to work really well together over time.
I want to add real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Real quick. I want to say calling Brown amazing last year is a little strong. He was good, but amazing is a little stretch. And when you talk about the Nuggets' depth, I mean, look, DeAndre Jordan got 14 minutes out there. The rookie, Christian Braun.
He was really good tonight.
But I mean, I'm not counting on him later in the season or in the postseason. Christian Braun got 23 points tonight. And I also want to address this douchebag in the comments. YouTube is dumb.
Yeah.
Let me say something real quick. And Coach, you threw a little dig at me, or Carl, you threw a little dig at me the other night too with a fan reference. I played this game for over 30 years organizationally. All right, I've coached this game as well. I've been an observer of this game since I was like 5 years old. If I don't know this game, and not to mention I listen to pro NBA players regularly give me their thoughts on this, man. I am a student of this game. If I don't know this game, I don't know what credentials you can throw at me for someone that does know this game. So
what do you know? What do you know about this game?
Yeah, what do I know?
No.
Man locked on.
Seriously, you don't get to be locked on Warriors if you don't know this game. No, I get that myself because I scouted football players. I talk a lot of baseball. I'll get people be like, "Oh, dude, what do you know about basketball?" excuse me. I've coached it, played it, refed it. You know, anybody who knows me knows that, I got a pretty good knowledge of the college game, the draft.
I need to bring my whistle out and tee some guys up here.
Seriously. Listen, YouTubers,
in Carl's defense, like a lot of people in the media have no playing experience in basketball. A lot of people don't. That's a gripe of mine as well, man. I've been in those press boxes. Obviously, we see everyone online and stuff.
You're saying some of those people in the press box have not curled off a screen in the half court?
No, they haven't even, I don't know if they've ever even dribbled the ball, all honesty, man. So I get like the skepticism, but I just want to assure I
just want everybody who's watching my stream to know that every single person on this stream only made it on this stream by making 100 consecutive free throws and also reverse jamming. Okay, that was the prerequisite. If you can't double clutch it and reverse it kind of like Kevin Willis in the 80s, and you don't make 100 in a row, you're not on the show. Danny made 98, but we let him off because La Boca Vista, and he's on the 55 and over side. We had to have representation. I got
to shout out Carl for just holding the basketball. You holding the basketball right now, I'm like, dude, pass me the ball. Like you can't just show that thing around. Also, what are your I know the Soldiers are sponsored by Nike, right?
Yes, they are.
What are your thoughts on that Nike ball? I promise this won't get back to anyone. I really wanted to love it.
It's soft.
It doesn't
shoot as well as some of the other balls that I like and prefer, but it looks really good when the check goes in the bank.
Yeah.
There you go.
And here's the good news for us, fellas, and Cyrus, that includes you. All of us know when we examine the game, it doesn't matter how much experience we have, what level we have it. We're always going to find some things where we miss. We're always going to find some things where we're on top of it. I will say this, though, Cyrus. You do owe Tyronn Lue an apology because Tyronn Lue, he has 2 50-win seasons. I just want to let you know. I do remember.
What seasons?
2017 and 2018.
Okay, I'll double check that. If I'm wrong, but I do sincerely.
Oh, that is the fact that you brought incorrect knowledge as the locked on Warriors representative is.
But this guy, YouTube is really dumb. I want to slap him in the face because he's going off this crazy day I had on Twitter today. I never once said I demand credentials. I am not credentialed. You're the schmuck who is believing what some other Twitter account who is bitter at me for criticizing certain shows that are run by fans. It's just not my cup of tea. And people are hating on me on Twitter today over this. So you're a jackass, man. I never demanded credentials. What I want from my content when I'm watching it is someone who actually knows the damn game, who's been at least behind the scenes a little bit so they understand what the perspective of a pro player is, for example, so they can actually communicate with the pro players who actually have experience in college understanding what objectivity is and what bias is. I want training and experience from my journalists. And for some reason, douchebags like this guy right here think that I'm demanding credentials, or I don't know what the hell his beef is.
Let's get him in the stream.
I gotta start using douchebag more. I gotta start using douchebag more.
It's Friday night, side. Shake them loose.
Exactly.
They're not on here with us, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Now he calls me a Nazi, which is the most asinine thing ever. So that's
where
is
this guy?
Where is this guy?
Let's focus on BS News.
That's kind of like
friggin' handsome and looks great in leather pants.
Do you guys realize the 49ers got Christian McCaffrey this week? Awesome. I will not sit around and listen to people rip other people while Christian McCaffrey is within 50 miles of where I'm standing. Yeah. All right. Do I need to start yelling about Kapler? Because I will. Damn it.
By the way, real quick, just on the McCaffrey front, just another funny thing. So I will try and get my buddy Jared, who was teammates with him for a couple of years, on the show at some point. He's got some hilarious stories. And then also, I was texting my bookie. I was like, "Oh, dude, can you
What's a bookie? I don't. What is this bookie thing that you described?"
My friend that I've never met. He told me, I was like, dude, I was like, yo, can you relive my balance? I'm so stoked on this McCaffrey trade. We just did like 3 hours. He got back to me. He said, dude, I've been friends with McCaffrey since I was 4 years old. Grew up the house next to him.
So he's coming on, and we getting him on the show. I mean, I think that means we got to go talk to him next week in the locker room.
Yes.
MF says Farhan plays fantasy basketball and football. Why isn't he focused on the Giants? Oh, he plays fantasy baseball with the team too.
That's it. Fire his ass. He's not. I'm tired of this man double dipping. All right. Hey, I bet Sacramento on opening night, giving 5. They were up like 7 and they gagged. So now I'm off the Mike Brown bandwagon.
After one game.
One game, that's it. Mike Brown sucks, and the Kings are going nowhere, and I lost my ass. No, Warriors Kings tomorrow, Sunday, I should say. Sunday. It was a weird vibe tonight. It felt like there was so Carl, me, Cy, we've been probably the most games. Maybe Barry a baller. I'm not sure how many games you've been to, but anybody who goes
baller, by the way, can you sorry to interrupt, but introduce me? Who is this guy, man? Hello.
This is Michael Porter Jr.
And show your credentials. Where's your badge?
We told him when he came off the floor, we said, come on over to the Krueg show. It looks a little bit like Michael Porter Jr. No. But Bay Area baller Eric Price is with us. He went to Reardon. He's a big basketball fan, and he's a big fan of Locked On Warriors and all that Cyrus brings to the table. So he's given us his perspective, and he's going to join us from time to time throughout the basketball season and help us out and maybe even do more stuff with us. So definitely.
Don't
I'm telling you, man, I'm bringing
James.
I'm bringing haters on your thing tonight, man. I'm sorry. I'm just today.
Are you looking at that guy is the most persistent. He's in every stream, always with some variation of what you just saw involving different members of the show. So
that's good. If we're getting back on track, we're talking Nuggets, Warriors.
We're never going to get back on track. I mean, this show should be called Off Track. Okay, go ahead.
Locked On. Locked on.
Off track. Okay, go ahead.
Like Cyrus alluded to, I think the Nuggets are a really good basketball team. I mean, I think these could be the top 2 teams in the Western Conference. Maybe the Clippers, if you want to put them into the mix. And we didn't even see Jamal Murray tonight.
I know. So, well, that's the scary part. The fact that they got knocked around. But the one guy that I think was kind of interesting we have not mentioned, and it's like the Nuggets are the most they make some of the most nondescript moves. They get no attention,
KCP.
and then you look up KCP.
God, he played over the top tonight, and so did DeAndre.
He won a ring in the bubble with the Lakers. The Lakers showed him the door. KCP he's got length. He can shoot the 3. He stretches the floor. He seems like he kind of goes from team to team, and he just kind of does exactly what he does. And he kind of quietly makes these teams better. I thought KCP, because think about the Warriors and the Nuggets in the playoffs, guys. The Nuggets struggled to find guys who could score the basketball. Now you add Highland, he's more developed. You bring back Jamal Murray, though we didn't see him tonight. So now they've got a little bit more diverse offense. But KCP is another guy who they didn't have him in the playoffs, and now they got this guy. This guy can shoot from the perimeter. So I thought that was kind of an under the radar. Who's the Nuggets GM?
Great question. I don't know.
I know that the Nuggets GM, I think there was something with the Grizzlies. Maybe the former Nuggets GM's now the GM of the Grizzlies.
Timberwolves. Well, he left for the Timberwolves. Timberwolves.
If anybody knows the Nuggets GM, because I mean, I kind of like some of the under the radar moves. Cal Booth. Okay, the former Penn State kid, shot blocker back in the day. Good call. Yeah. No, but I think Denver Bay Area baller brings up a point. We don't know exactly who the number 1 contender in the West is, guys. It may be the Denver Nuggets.
I don't think so. Personally,
Shaq said so on opening night. Grizzlies, man.
Shaq said Denver on opening night. Do you guys see Shaq with Charles and Kenny and Johnson? I mean, Shaq called out the Nuggets. He said it's going to be Jokic and the Nuggets. What do you guys think?
I saw in Med Barkley. He's a big dude. He's bigger than I imagined. Like, people sometimes say like he's only 6'4", 6'5". Like No, he's a big dude, man. He's someone I can understand why people are afraid to mess with him and rumble with him because. Anyways, but yeah. Well, what about the Grizzlies? Are we sleeping on the Grizzlies? Like people are just forgetting.
I like the Grizzlies too, but I'm just saying Denver outside of Jokic, you think, Jokic, Warriors took him down in the first round. What do they got? Well, Jamal Murray is their best player outside of Jokic. He didn't even play tonight, and they're a little bit deeper and a little bit better than what they were. And Bay Area Baller mentioned it. If Michael Porter Jr. starts to fulfill that potential around this mix, it's a totally different looking team.
I just feel like with Denver, I feel like a lot of people, I get a little scared off when I start hearing everybody picking a certain team, a trendy team coming into the year. And also it's like, okay, I can kind of see in my mind's eye, I can see the Denver run. It would involve some injuries to some teams, but it also involves Jamal Murray, who nobody's seen Jamal Murray since the bubble when he went bananas. Guess who he was dueling against? Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell fell off a cliff since the bubble. So, I mean, it's kind of like also, and then he gets the injury. So I like Jamal Murray a lot. He trains with Curry's guy, right? But I mean, I don't think we can just pencil Jamal Murray in as this playoff killer that's the last thing people remember. And also Michael Porter Jr., I mean, he's got to stay completely healthy. He's got to keep improving. They just have a lot of things that have to go right, kind of similar to the Nets almost. Like if everything goes right, I could maybe see it. I don't see it.
The biggest thing that Denver brings to the table, though, that we all have to take a real deep look at, when you get in the playoff, it comes down to matchups. We know that. It also comes down to shot makers. And they have the ultimate shot maker in Jokic.
Yeah.
They also have a playmaker in Jokic. And now they have 2 or 3 other guys that you could feel. In a playoff series, we have already seen Bones Highland is going to be a problem. Michael Porter knocked down clutch shots. And when you add KCP, like you said, Larry, he is a proven playoff performer. He performed well in Washington. He just has the ability to really come in and defend and lock people up and make some big shots. So I've got Denver in my top 4.
Yeah,
I think they're going to be a headache to deal with in the first round. Who's ever the 5th seed, it'll probably end up somebody like Phoenix. And I look forward to whoever's the number 1 seed, which I personally think is going to end up being the Clippers. The number 1 seed is going to end up having to take on Denver. I think the Warriors are going to coast a little bit as certain parts of the season go on because they are going to use a little bit of load management. So it's just going to be a ton of fun, man. I mean, we're going to have a blast.
I feel like if this was the mid-2000s, this Nuggets team would be favored to win the title. But it's just the league is so freaking deep right now. It is so ridiculous. You look at these, even like a team like the Timberwolves, they're going to be a non-factor in the playoffs, probably be like a 6 or 7 seed. Like they're pretty loaded up. There's so many teams that are loaded up. Clippers, Suns still are pretty loaded up. You can go to Memphis, and that's just in the West. And you go into the East, there's all these teams. It's weird because it feels kind of wide open. But my heart is kind of telling me it's going to be the same. It's going to be kind of a boring thing where it's going to end up being a rematch of Celtics Warriors.
Really?
Celtics come out. Yeah.
And that's coming from your heart.
It's coming from my heart, man.
What about your head? What does your head say?
My head is confused. It's very confused. I'm just going gut feel. This Celtics team looks like
heart or gut.
I mean,
now we're moving organs, and I need to know where this.
I'm no MD. I'm no MD. But don't you think
my
spleen says Clippers. My
Ryan,
liver.
I've been watching this show
Denver.
a long time.
Yeah.
Ryan, are the Celtics still a better team than the Golden State Warriors?
Oh no. I think this Warriors team, if it comes together, they're a better team than they were last year. With the Celtics, the thing with the Udoka thing is the thing that threw everyone off the scent. But I would have said, oh my God, they're going to come in super hungry. They've got all these young dogs that are all trying to prove something. Tatum's trying to prove something after the last finals. He's looking like an MVP candidate early. Brown looks locked in. Even in that their first game, Embiid kind of fell on Marcus. Something happened with Marcus Smart, and Jaylen Brown went up and backed him up, and they said in the presser that's an emphasis this year. They're not going to be bullied. So they felt like they got bullied in the finals. They felt like they were bullied, and then they felt like they got bullied by Draymond. They all got thrown off their games. I don't know. I'm worried about that team for sure.
Well, it's gonna. We're 2 games in, and like every season, it'll come down to who's healthy. When we get towards the playoffs, who's going to be healthy, who's not. Warriors were fortunate last year. They didn't have they play 11 minutes, the big three all season long, and then they finally are all healthy for the playoffs. That's what's going to come down to. So, but right now, like you say, Rye, I mean, Boston is doing this without Robert Williams. Wait till he gets back, and when he's fully ready to go, they're gonna be very tough. Plus, they're hungry. They've experienced, levels. They've gotten to each level. Last year, they finally kicked in the Eastern Conference door. They got to the finals. Now they've experienced that.
Was that like a bum? Was I sensing a Bum Phillips reference there? We kicked in there. Last year we knocked on the door. This year we pounded on the door. Next year we're going to kick that motherfucker in. You remember that? That was back in the day. Hey, by the way, Marlo makes a great point here in the chat. Am I in the wrong live stream? Why isn't Dan eating? Danny, go make yourself a little something.
Oh, you know what?
You're letting down the audience right now. We got 6 people in this room. You got cereal. You got completes. You got snacks.
What kind of cereal?
Your old lady's probably willing to make you a little something if you begged her nicely. Come on, let's shake up this 55 and over community. Let's make something.
What kind of cereal?
Can you throw
I'm actually full. I actually ate before I got on the show because I had to eat because
How dare you eat before the show?
I knew Bay Area Baller was going to be making his introductory appearance, and I didn't want to throw him off too much. I know he's watched the show, but having him have to actually be in the room and then watch me.
People have expectations, Dan. They've got expectations. They're expecting to tune in to see you eating.
So I had bet the plus 500 Dan was going to be eating a TV dinner.
Seriously, show Carl. Carl, you got to see Danny's completes. Danny, bust out that ass. Danny's got meats that don't go in the fridge. Carl, I'm not even joking. These are meals that you can only get in the state of Arizona. You can't get that across California state lines. Danny, go show him.
Let me see.
Show him. Danny's got these complete dinners. It's like Swanson's back in the day, but that doesn't go in the freezer.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's meat that is unrefrigerated in the cabinet.
The dates,
the gabagool, exactly.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
For everyone.
Why'd you send the old guy out?
Considering Bay Area Ballers rocking the Wiseman jersey, and I think we all kind of agreed like that he was maybe the biggest takeaway of game one. I want to hear what everyone's thoughts are about Wiseman and Kuminga specifically, because I think we all kind of feel like Moody's kind of he's already playing kind of like a veteran. I kind of feel like he's just a health thing. But for me, the thing that worried me about Wiseman today is I don't like when he runs and his feet look heavy. When his feet look heavy, it's almost like he's wearing like big construction boots. You see that sometimes with big men, even when they're really athletic. He's kind of when he plays heavy footed, and I don't even know how to coach that out of someone. But when he plays,
you handle that one, please. I've never.
Ryan, what size shoe do you wear?
13.
Okay.
Wow.
When you start wearing an 18, you'll be heavy footed.
13's pretty big, man. That's no small feat. No pun intended.
I wear 13 and a half.
God damn, you two, man. Big swinging shoes.
Have you ever seen have you ever seen I got kind of bigger ones down there. They're kind of bigger.
I'm only saying it because I can relate as a guy who's I got like hip surgery in high school and I had to convert to being a big and I'm
going Trump and Rubio here. Come on, let's go.
But I'm only I'm 6'5". That still is like a big guy.
You really?
Yeah.
Let's everybody go around the room and give our dimensions. Go ahead. Danny, why don't you start? Danny, what are you? What give me your physical makeup and your 40 time.
Oh, my 40 time. Yeah.
He saw his 40 time was pretty good.
Yeah, he times his 40 with a sundial.
Yeah.
All right.
5'11". I'm 5'11".
Okay, let's get into a hard-hitting topic. All right.
Ryan did bring up a good one. So let's go ahead and be serious on it. Here's my perspective on the three young guys. When I look at James Wiseman, just like Steve Kerr has said, he's already earned his spot in the rotation. It's very clear he's going to play somewhere between 17 and 25 minutes, depending on the night, depending on the opponent, depending on if he can avoid getting cheap fouls like the one that he got on Bones Highland tonight, which is probably a touch foul, but just staying away from that keeps him on the floor. You can clearly see he's going to be an offensive force. He's being aggressive without being overly hungry. He's being really smart about playing with his hands up. So I just love what he's doing. I love what he's bringing. He's already showing he can defend the rim. The real challenge right now is Jonathan Kuminga, because Jonathan is trying to fit in a role that they have carved out for him. And it's a little bit different than the responsibility they gave him last year, which was they let him freelance a lot more. They let him get a chance to get his feet wet. And now they're going to hold him accountable to some things. So I think
what's his role, Carl? What's his role in your mind?
In my mind, I think he is being asked to be a defender, a ball pusher, and a guy who's really running the floor hard as soon as the ball is recovered, which was something he struggled with last year. They want him to get quick, easy baskets. And then when he's in half court, they want him to be a direct line driver and also a distributor. Tonight, he had a couple of turnovers early because he was trying to make an aggressive play, and it kind of got him in a little bit of trouble because he's not a great shooter yet, but he can be an attack guy to the rim.
It's a weird roster because there's really only 3 players who show up at the arena not expecting to play. Iguodala, Rollins, and Baldwin. Everybody else expects to play. Kuminga, we're talking about his role. He played 8 minutes. Played 8 minutes. There's almost one person in this live stream per minute this guy played. I mean, this guy barely played, and I agree. I think he's a key guy for them. Absolutely.
You might need to go to
the challenge of the year. That's a good point. The challenge of the year for Steve is going to be keeping guys who really show up at the arena thinking they're going to get minutes satisfied when they don't. And I mean, Moody, I think, is a pretty respectful player, but they're going to need his perimeter scoring at times this year. He only played 13 minutes, only 10 for DiVincenzo, only 8 for Kuminga, and that's going to be the challenge. I mean, I thought Poole was odd tonight in that he only took 5 shots and he never really got comfortable. He rebounded. I mean, he had 7 assists, I should say. He distributed better, but overall, Poole just looked like. Poole seems like he's going to struggle with less opportunities. Am I misreading that, guys? How do you guys view Poole on this roster compared to how he fit in a year ago?
Well, the biggest challenge, and you just have to say it, Poole's now heavily on the scouting report, man. And once you become higher up on the scouting report, for some teams, he may be higher up on the scouting report than Clay, because they kind of know where Clay's going to get his shots, whereas Jordan was creating so many opportunities, making the defense so vulnerable last year that it was very clear. Like there was one particular play where Bron was guarding him on the left wing, and he tried to do the little ooey move where he goes right hand and bring it back underneath his legs, and he got the ball tipped away, and Bron went on a fast break. By the way, Bron's going to be a really good puzzle piece for them because he defends really well.
Yeah.
But those are some of the things that Jordan's going to have to relate to, which is when every team is more prepared for you, which just means he's just going to get more creative. But I love the way he's always looking for Wiseman when he's attacking the rim.
Yeah, they should just be playing pick and roll games with that second unit. If they can't get the offense going, I just want to see pick and roll with Wiseman, because that's where Wiseman thrives, and that's not really their offense. But I feel like that alone is an offense into it itself, is just Jordan Poole running pick and roll with Wiseman. But that's why I brought up Wiseman and Kuminga, because I think if you're tiering them, I think that Wiseman does look like he's ready to be part of this rotation. Absolutely, he looks comfortable. Moody, I totally trust. I think the less minutes is just because he's coming back from an injury. Kuminga, I actually think, this should be his rookie year. He left early to go to the G League. I actually think that he should probably go down to Santa Cruz at some point this year if he's not going to be getting minutes. No.
Carl thinks he's
an
too
NBA player.
Yeah, I kind of agree. But the minute, I will say this about what Rye's point is, the challenge for Kerr is going to be monumental to balance the minutes. But I kind of agree with Carl and Cy in that I think he's kind of graduated beyond Santa Cruz. But we're going to see. Here, let me give you my concern about James Wiseman, and then I want to hear what you guys think. I'm very concerned about, and Rye brought this up the other day, and he's not concerned, but I am concerned about 2 aspects of James Wiseman's game: rebounding and his hands. I mean, there was a play today in the second half where they threw him the ball, dropped it, tried to pick it up, dropped it. It rolled away from him, and it was like dead ball, timeout on the floor. Went to pick it up, dropped it again. I mean, his hands are.
I don't get that.
Should we be concerned about his hands? I mean, Rye kind of threw out the idea that maybe his lack of being sure-handed is more about his head, and everything's swimming in his head, and the game's still very fast for him. And I could see some of that, but I wanted to see improvement in that area this year. And to me, it looks like the guy's hands are questionable.
Yeah, people have asked me, like, does he have small hands? And I can assure people that's not the case. His hand size is fine. It could be just the speed of the game. I think that's part of it. Like, you see him out there, and the timing's not quite there yet. Like a lot of times he's making passes that are just a split second off. A lot of times he's in the wrong place on the court, waiting for a pass where he should be somewhere else. I think with him, it's just timing. And I think that's why the hand thing is an issue, because it's kind of like a receiver in football who looks ahead too soon and they'll drop a pass. Sometimes he does that. Like, he's so excited to make his move that he just forgets you have to actually grab the damn ball first. I think he's going to be fine. The Kuminga thing, for some reason, occurs again. This is only 2 games so far, but Kerr did this a lot last year, where he has no patience with Kuminga. If Kuminga has a bad first half, his night is either done, or he might get a couple of like random minutes in the third quarter. But for the most part,
why is that, Cy? Is that because
I don't know.
Jonathan is a little bit more, maybe is not as refined a player in the half court? That's in fact, that's a hard question to ask Kerr, because he doesn't do it consistent enough. So I'd have to time that for a home game where he does do that. Like, tonight would have been good if I was there, but I don't know. That's a great question. I think it's just he doesn't have the patience with the young players that he does with the veterans, for obvious reasons. My biggest concern, though, still, it's only 2 games. I think the Kuminga thing, I don't want to hate on Dante DiVincenzo. I love him as a free agent acquisition, but I'd rather see Kuminga playing than DiVincenzo. And the team has more than enough ball handlers on there. You don't need one more. If Kuminga is going to be your guy, give those 10 minutes you gave to DiVincenzo to Kuminga, save those minutes for when you have to stagger players on back-to-backs and so forth. That's just my opinion on it. That way you got Kuminga more minutes. And DiVincenzo is not a long-term part of this team, right? He's probably gone after this year. So you have to think long-term with Kuminga. You have to develop him. But I'm still most concerned with Jordan Poole, because this is 2 games. It's only 2 games, but still, this is 2 games where he's shot awful. I mean, tonight he even missed a free throw, which he does not do. I mean, he led the league in free throw shooting last year. He hasn't been the same player since he got dropped. No, how many games till we throw that narrative out? Draymond knocked his offensive game right off of him. He's taken the money and run. He hasn't been since the minute he signed that contract. He's gone south. Is that where? I mean, it's such a small sample size. But okay. Is there a legitimate concern by any of you guys in Poole? Is it what Carl pointed out? What's that?
I mean, we're looking at game 2. I don't see it.
Danny, show me that shirt again.
Ghost.
Show me that shirt, Danny.
Relax.
He's saying relax. He's saying relax.
No, it's game 2. I mean, Denver had a good game plan. You know, they really shut Poole down. They double teamed him a lot. They trapped him, and he wasn't able to break free. And then, you know, they were up in his face. He couldn't even create a shot hardly tonight. So that'll change. They'll adjust. They'll make adjustments, and they'll have plays set up. There'll be guys open. Like Rye said, they'll probably throw it into Wiseman more, and when they're going to start double teaming him and do some pick and rolls. Also, I kind of tend to disagree with you a little bit, Cy, on Kuminga and DiVincenzo. I think DiVincenzo is like probably their 7th or 8th guy. It's Poole and JaMychal Green and DiVincenzo. I think those 2 guys they need to get incorporated into the Warriors' way of playing.
That's it.
They're not going to get struggling.
It's a weird thing to say about this team is that they actually are going to struggle a little bit to find their identity in the regular season. Their second group is actually You don't think so?
Oh, for now, but not
for now.
not
And
March.
they just got to figure. I mean, because they know what to do with the first team, obviously, but it's that second team, and it's even these guys that are cerebral. Kerr hasn't quite found the right recipe for the second group yet. It's just.
Admitted that tonight in the post-game press conference. He said that he said it's going to take weeks. They have not figured out the rotations yet. You could tell. I just want more Kuminga minutes because he's more important for their repeat title chances than DiVincenzo will be. That's just my opinion. You know, you guys are welcome to disagree with that. I can't sit here and say I'm right, but that's just how I feel. You know, I think Kuminga is more important, and the size he brings, right? I mean, Carl, you brought up how like it doesn't look good when he brings the ball up, but they're trying to get him to become a better ball handler. Because if he actually develops that part of his game, he's really going to be unstoppable and he'll bring that much more value. But I just think Kuminga has to play the size, the athleticism. He just needs that experience, man. That's all he needs. The timing is not there.
And he's an underrated passer too. I feel like I've seen Kuminga drop some dimes.
Agreed. Yeah, totally agree.
And you know, Jordan Poole, the concern level, I'm not concerned about Jordan Poole. I think we got to get him some more open looks. He's going to start knocking him down. And Larry, we're talking, you know, Wiseman's hands, right? Because it has been a concern, not so much for me in the 2 games I've seen this year, but like when James was trying to make his comeback last year, he played 2 or 3 G League games last year. And I remember I was watching those games with a magnifying glass, and Wiseman's hands did have me concerned for that 2 or 3 game stretch, small sample size. This year hasn't been a concern, but I do want to bring up James Wiseman's biggest improvement that I've noticed. It's the shot selection, right? He used to be shooting all these long 2s, right? And he was shooting 3s, but now I really feel like he's honed in on his shot selection. We saw him hit the nice floater tonight, also airballed the floater, but still I liked how it looked. I think he does have some good touch around the rim, and really I think Wiseman's shot selection's been a big improvement.
No, I think that's a good call. By the way, just looking around the league tonight, couple stats that really jump out at me. I want to throw your guys' way. Halliburton tonight, Tyrese in the Pacers Spurs game. 27 points, 12 assists. I mean, he's gonna have a night. He's gonna have a year. And then Ja, did you see what Ja did tonight against Houston? Ja had 49, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, and the Grizzlies beat the Rockets on the road by 7, 129-122. Morant looks like he's going to take off. One thing I kind of had in the notes that I wanted to ask you guys. The Warriors have so many freaking uniforms right now. It's unbelievable. But I love the unis they have tonight.
Yeah,
now, I'm an old school guy, but I don't like the old school ones. I'm an old guy. You can take out the school. I'm an old guy who didn't go to a school enough or didn't pay attention in school enough. No, but I like these uniforms. I don't like the orange era. You know, like with Bobby Sura and that. And I know Steph always wears those ones. He's like, oh, I love these jerseys. He's nostalgic because he was his rookie year, but the team sucked back then, and I hated those uniforms.
No, that was my childhood, though, Larry. I love those.
I know, but don't change your color scheme. The Yankees tomorrow are not going to be orange and blue. You know what I mean? You don't change your color scheme, and the Warriors shouldn't either. But I like the ones tonight. Tonight, they're the Mr. Jennings, Victor Alexander, Chris Gatling. Carl remembers these guys. Cy might have been.
Of course I remember.
You remember those guys?
I grew up in the Sleepy Floyd, Chris Mullen era, man. I mean,
okay, so you go way back. But I mean, I like the blue. I like the blue. I love the Warriors colors when they're the real colors. The real blue that they wore tonight, the real gold that they wore tonight. And I like those Warrior uniforms. And that was the team. Wasn't that the Weber? Weren't those the Weber, Owens, Spreewell, Avery Johnson?
Like or one TMC.
No, I thought they were the Web, the C Web 55 win 93. Aren't those from like the early 90s tonight? I don't know. I thought they reminded me of that Weber Owens 93 team. And I love those. I love the Warriors colors when they wear the blue and the gold. So I don't know. I was going to go around the room and ask you guys, of all of the jerseys that Golden State wears, And there's several cool ones. The yellow one with the old school, Rick Barry, the city ones. Those are freaking cool.
Yeah.
I don't like the charcoal ones that are like the color of what Carl's shirt is right there. What are those?
The Oak Towners.
Yeah,
the town. I don't like the town. I don't like that kind of.
What do you got against Oakland, man?
That's cement.
It looks like a T-shirt.
I like the cement color. It's not in their color scheme. But give me your guys.
Hater,
what's
man.
your
You're a
favorite?
hater. Oakland lost everything. You're against the town.
If you can pick one Warrior jersey that you want to see them play in, I won't say rock because somebody in the chat's going to put that picture that I remember when they had the show, they had the jerseys with the sleeves and they sent one to the station and I decided Ratty's like, look at that thing. And I held it up and it's like super skinny. Right. And I'm like, this thing and I put it on and they took a picture. Now my great grandkids, when they Google my name, that's me looking like just this fat white guy in a sausage casing. I mean, I'm like the New York style Italian sausage. Like Bay Area Baller's already going to go puke right now.
Why did you do that, Larry?
He's definitely grabbing a jersey.
That's
why did I do it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Damn it. I shouldn't have done it because now every time I rip somebody, some athlete for not being like athletic enough, I mean, like literally, I'm like 3, 2, 1. Oh, there I am in the sausage casing jersey.
I'll tell you what, being in the locker room does not help.
Yeah, but do you guys have a favorite Warrior jersey?
It's not even close for me. It's the city.
What do you got?
The city.
The yellow city?
It's not even particularly close for me.
Okay.
I love the yellow city. It reminds me of Nate Thurman and Rick Barry and Clyde Lee. I just remember all those guys.
Favorite, Phil Smith, the most distinguished Warrior ever.
Yeah, USF. Phil
See,
Smith.
when I first was a Warrior fan, I mean, my favorite player was like Bernard King.
What a draft!
They had World Free, who they Lloyd Free now, and now he changed his name legally to World B Free, who was an incredible scorer, like 23 a game, 24 a game, great score. This is pre-Sleepy Floyd, but they had Bernard King, Larry Smith, JB, Joe Barry Carroll, those Purvis Short. I mean, Bernard King was my favorite. I love Bernard King. Bernard King, and still, to me, when I see like all-time awesome lists of NBA players and they leave off Bernard King, to me, I'm like offended by that. Because I seriously think Bernard King might be one of the greatest players I've ever seen. Carl, give me your thought. I mean, you've probably seen as much ball as any of us. What do you think? Where does Bernard King sit on the list of the greats? Because he was a Warrior for a short time. They got him from Michael Ray Richardson, I believe.
When I think of the great small forwards of all time, Bernard King's definitely in my top 15.
Okay.
He's pushing towards top 10.
Wow.
But because he wasn't a two-way player, there's a couple of guys I have ahead of him, but just an amazing scorer. I mean,
used to shoot it up high, could never block it.
Of New York basketball, and we know New York City gets a ton of love when it comes to publicity about players. Bernard King he's just legendary. I mean, outside of Walt Frazier, there's nobody who embodies New York Knicks basketball better than he does.
Yeah, I love Bernard King. Mark Graves, Larry was fresh in and fresh out in that jersey. Thank you. Very topical there, Mark Graves.
Cy, what's your favorite jersey?
Yeah, what's your favorite jersey, Cy?
This is a weird era, but like the mid-late 80s, they had kind of like the colors of Dan's hat, but it's hard to explain the font, but it had like the state and it had like a star where Oakland was. Does that make sense?
The blue version of those you liked?
Yes, exactly. I don't know why that sticks out to me, but you know what's funny? Like,
sorry, 1 sec. I feel like if everyone gave their favorite jerseys and then the next question was, when were you born? I think that you'd see the math is about the same with all of them in terms of your
Barry Baller. I saw you took off. I figured it was something I said. No, but let's see. You have two jerseys. You got the jersey you're wearing, and then you brought the old school white jersey, which is a cool looking jersey. Show us the two jerseys.
Yeah. It took me a little bit too. Took me a little longer to find than expected, but I really liked this one. And
That's the design that Sai's talking about, but you like it in
Yes,
blue,
yes,
right?
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Who's
is
35?
I think when I see that, I think of Jerome Whitehead.
Yeah,
You guys remember Jerome Whitehead?
KD,
No.
a throwback. You don't remember Jerome Whitehead?
No, they don't remember Jerome Whitehead.
Center out of
From Marquette. From Marquette, right?
Hey, I remember when we drafted Patrick O'Brien and I was screaming at my television. That's something I can tell you I remember.
I bought
My favorite. Can I tell you my favorite Patrick O'Brien story?
Yes.
It's
Please.
when I was listening to my good friend Damon Bruce on KMBR 1050 at the time, and he's like, "God dang it, they got another big stiff white guy," because he was Patrick O'Brien.
Right, but he's not white.
I bought an Ike Diagu jersey.
Ike Diagu.
I like
Carl's got some Ike Diagu stories.
Carl, you guys will. Larry and Carl, you guys will remember in '74, I believe it was. You know, Ryan, you might be shocked at this, but Kobe's dad, Joe Bryant, was the #1 draft pick for the Warriors.
I knew that.
Jelly Bean Joe Bryant.
Okay,
Joe.
and then they had drafted out of USC Gus Williams, and then the next year they drafted Keith Wilkes, who became Jamal Wilkes.
Well, how
And-
did Gus Williams become
Phil
a Sonic?
Smith.
Does anybody remember that?
And Phil
he became
Smith.
a free agent somehow.
Yeah,
And
But
they were
that-
able to pick him up, and then he and DJ
They won a
paired up with
title.
Jack Stickman
Yeah.
and Marvin Webster and that whole crew. They were
Lonnie
really good.
Shelton, right?
but that 74-75 team had Gus Williams, Keith Wilkes, and drew a blank.
Bean?
You just mentioned it. Phil Smith. He was unbelievable. Phil Smith, man, he had just a beautiful pull-up jumper. He was just, I love Phil Smith.
I mean, we
from
could talk
USF.
old school Warriors forever. Sai, you do a regular hit with Rick. You ever ask Rick what his favorite jersey is? Warrior, because I'd love to know.
Yes, the yellow city one.
He likes the city.
And which, by the way, if you go to at Rick Barry's house on Twitter, there's a link at the very top where you buy that shirt. Yeah, but that's his favorite. Yeah, he actually said that. So
I run those every time in 2K. If I'm playing as the Warriors, it's always
cool.
the yellows.
What about the cable car?
The higher up shorts, I love too. And Curry rocks the white knee sleeves. Oh, it's a great look.
The cable cars were a no-go. Cable car jerseys.
I didn't love the cable car look.
I don't even know what that is. I'm going to Google it right now.
Well, they brought him back for like San Francisco, right? When they wore them when they were in San Francisco, when they first were in San Francisco.
Oh, I never knew until now that's cable car.
Yeah. The worst Warrior uniform outside of those ones was when they had Bobby Sura and they wore the total orange. I mean, the ridiculous orange,
Don't like it.
the over the
How
top,
about the lightning bolt.
the lightning bolt, the Jason Caffey era.
Oh,
Do you guys remember
Zarko
Jason Caffey?
Kabarkapa.
yeah, former Bulls
Zarko
first-round pick.
Chaparkapa, yes. Tim Roy's nemesis. He had to say that fast like 20 times a game.
They also had
Zarko Chaparkapa.
Nikolai Skitsuvili.
That was what happened is Dirk came out and then suddenly there was this run on Euros because everybody thought they were getting the next Dirk and it was a bunch of dog meat, right? It was Skitishvili and Darko Milicic and there's like 3 or 4 other guys who are just, they're just tall guys walking around Europe at this point.
Darko was a huge what if in terms of just basketball history, because if the Pistons did go with Melo like they should have, who knows what happens, right? I mean, that's such a game changer in the whole schematics of what we've known the last 20 years. It's wild. Pistons could have kept going for another 10 years.
Yeah,
Let me ask you-
almost like the Lenny Bias with the Celtics.
I love Lenny Bias.
Having a ridiculous generational player to go along with a team, which is what happens with the Warriors, which is what makes them so good. When your culture is so much team oriented, you can add in a really good player and they're gonna blend in versus you see when a team doesn't have a great culture and they bring in a talented player, sometimes it's just not that fit.
If we're playing the what if game, there's a couple what ifs that really, that's one of them. What if what if Lenny Bias did not die? He would have joined McHale, Bird. He would have joined a dynasty. And he was kind of a cross. If you didn't see him, he was kind of a cross between Jordan and Dominique.
Oh.
And that ain't saying, that's not overstating it. I mean, Len Bias played in the ACC in the same year that Jordan did and was better than Jordan. I mean, he was like the guy.
And he would have been he would have been like playing in that system with.
He almost was like a pre-LeBron.
Oh, that's
he was that good of a player. The other what if for me is I always think the what if Robert Horry doesn't stick that shot in the 0-2 finals against the Kings? Would the Kings have been champions?
Yes.
And how different would basketball be in Sacramento right now if the Kings had won that title? And then
we can go down the officiating conspiracy in that series too.
There you go, Donahue. And I've interviewed Donahue about this. And then the other what if I always have in my mind is what if Nelly loved Webber? What if Webber loved Nelly? Could that 93 Warriors team with Webber, Owens, Latrell, Mully coming back, Hardaway coming back, Avery Johnson was there. I mean, they had a ton of talent. If that thing had stayed together, would the Warriors have been – would they have won a title? I think they probably would have won a title with Nelly.
Just to add to that, like Tim Hardaway would have come back too.
Was coming back. He was out for the year that year.
Exactly, because Avery Johnson kind of took over that role as a.
And it's funny aside, Timmy. I asked Timmy about this when we had him on the radio a couple years ago, and he really feels like if he had not been hurt that year, that he would have been a louder voice in the locker room and that he could have helped kind of bring that team along, that he felt like he was the missing cog between Webber and Nelly, that if he had been healthy, he would have been a more active voice that year and he would have brought that whole thing together.
He echoed the exact same thing to me. And it's a huge what if. What's crazy though is that not many people talk about is why the Warriors gave Chris Webber that dumb contract, because they gave him an out after year one. And it's like, and that's why he bounced. It was like they gave him this, like, remember it was like a 15-year, $74 million deal that at the time sounded good with a player option after year one. And he was gone. He just let peace. And,
he said, I want out.
And I think it was like a sign and trade or something they did. So they got at least
Gugliotta back. Gugliotta and all the picks they gave up to Orlando in the Penny Weber trade.
Well, I got a what if.
The other challenge
go ahead.
in that situation was when Chris Webber came out, he was represented by Sports West Management, and I worked for him at that time.
Right.
Bill Duffy was his original agent of choice.
Our good friend Bill Duffy.
Remember his aunt and her boyfriend, who was an attorney, took over his management. And so at that time, he just kind of lacked having the kind of basketball savvy leadership on the management side, because that could have helped to navigate that process a little bit better. And, hey, we all know what happened in the end, and it was unfortunate. But I really believe Nelly was so far ahead of his time, man. I wish Nelly was coaching in today's NBA, because he already understood that. I mean, we know what happened in Phoenix where they did 7 seconds or less. They were kind of taking what he did, took it to another level. So many of those guys were ahead of their time, and I just wished he could have had a chance to coach how basketball is played.
I feel like C-Web in general, just team success aside, I feel like if you just simulated his career, 20 times, just he gets drafted to a random team and he has a career. I just feel like it could have ended so much better.
What's weird about Webber is that in some ways, Draymond Green has become all of the things that the Warriors wanted Chris Webber to be. They wanted him to be a distributor. He had passing ability. They wanted him to be a rim protector. They wanted him to be an intimidator. They wanted him to embrace his role. And it was an era where Nelly was ahead of his time, and he was playing Webber as a undersized 5. And Webber looked at that as like, hey man, I don't want to do that. Now you would sell that, right? Now the players would buy that. And we're in a skilled era. At the time, he's like, man, I don't want to, you're signing me up to to go bump and grind on the low block with all these 270-pound big men. I don't want any part of that. But he should have embraced it because he would have owned those guys. He would have owned them on the block.
It's crazy. That's crazy. So true, man. And what if the Warriors never traded Mitch? I mean,
yeah, somebody said that in here.
Run TMC didn't.
How about this one right here? J Boogie 510. What if we never traded Mitch Richmond for Billy Owens? That was like right now. It was like literally like within like a day of the season. Might have been before the season. I remember Tommy telling me how he felt like that just totally tore up the team and their whole, their whole vibe and their whole unity. And I was in Sacramento at the time when Mitch showed up there. He was depressed. He didn't want to be in Sacramento.
The worst joke ever is that when Mitch went to Sacramento, he shows up in Sacramento for the first game. He walks into the locker room. He sees Spud Webb. He knows Spud. He walks over to Spud. He's got a big smile on his face, and Spud looked at him and said, "Welcome to hell."
Oh, wow.
Bay Area baller, what you want to jump in with the biggest your biggest regret?
Yeah,
or the biggest what if?
Yeah, I got a what if. Yeah, I do. And it's what if the Warriors didn't trade Vince Carter for Antoine Jameson?
Oh, God damn
it. Great one. That's a great one.
I liked Antoine. Don't get me wrong.
We all liked Antoine.
Jameson.
Yeah, we all did.
Vince Carter, that guy is different. And then how about
Vinsanity? How about passing in back-to-back years Kobe and T-Mac for Donald and Fuller?
I was about to say the Kobe one too. Yeah,
I did a huge thing on my Sports Phone 680 show on KMBR. I'm like, dude, if you play 4 years in the ACC and nobody's ever heard of you, don't draft that player. It was Todd Fuller. Todd Fuller played 4 years in the ACC. Nobody had ever heard of the guy.
I got to say, though, just as I'm a big like butterfly effect guy. Like sometimes like if the Warriors like lose a big game, I'm just like, damn, like what if I didn't go to the gym today? But all of these what ifs, I just can't even. I'm just glad that it all happened, because if anything was different, then maybe this thing doesn't come together, because they've hit on just about every move possible. It's insane, actually.
I know that's a great point, right? Because the one thing about Golden State that bugs me, the only thing that really gets me to be like, is when people during the Durant years suggested they bought their title. Because there's nothing further from the truth. They drafted Draymond. They drafted Steph. They drafted Clay. They drafted HB. They drafted Festus. They drafted the whole goddamn team. And I sat there piece by piece watching them draft that thing. So this whole idea that, KD just went there and they're just, he's the one guy who came there, and it made it absurd, granted. But come on, man.
You know what's even crazier is
title. They didn't buy their title at all.
They weren't over the cap either. That's even crazier. Like the year they got Kevin Durant,
there you go.
They were right at the cap. Like it's so the Warriors made so much money during that dynasty. It's ridiculous, because for most of those years they were below the cap, and all those championship runs brought them like hundreds of millions just in profit, like excess in the black. It's incredible.
The other what if that I have, and it's a major what if, and Carl knows it because I was yelling in his ear about it. I wanted KG, and they went Joe Smith.
God damn it again.
They didn't see
Maryland.
And Carl used the word, I remember at the time, you're like, KG is liquid. His moves are liquid, and it really was. He was like this just unbelievably fluid 7-footer, and Joe Smith was really good. I mean, he was really good. He had a great face-up game. He was solid 6'10". He could run the floor. He could block shots. Great kid, great attitude, workmanlike. Not KG.
Look, in the Warriors' defense, I mean, a lot of people were scared off from KG because he was a high schooler. That was still a relatively new concept.
They should have embraced that, because they could have had T-Mac, Kobe, and KG.
It scared them off for a lot of drafts.
That would have changed things, I think.
Well, how about the rumor that the Warriors were supposed to get KG later on in his career during I think it was the Jason Richardson trade, or we got Brandon Wright, but they were rumored to be in heavy on KG. I don't know if anyone else has heard that.
I'll tell you the other what if that lucky that it didn't work out.
Yeah.
The Warriors were offered Amari Stoudemire.
Yep,
for
I was
Steph.
thinking the same thing for Steph. They almost
Could
did
you
it.
imagine if they had traded Steph for Amari Stoudemire?
And Steve
No.
Kerr wanted him.
Steve Kerr wanted him. Steve Kerr almost traded the Warriors Amari Stoudemire, who had like some kind of eye surgery where he had to like lay on his back for like a month or something.
Also, everyone, it seems pretty verified that they told Milwaukee you can have Monte or Steph for Bogut. Like that's what everyone says. I know.
Yeah, that's Carlo.
Folklore.
That's
Carlo
folklore.
brings a great one too. Like Klay Thompson for Kevin Love was almost a reality.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Wow.
that's another huge what if for sure, man.
Yeah.
That's
Woo. Yeah, how about they signed DeAndre Jordan? And then the Clippers ended up signing him, but the Clippers matched, but they signed DeAndre Jordan.
Yes.
the old Warriors would have made that trade. Like the Cohan Warriors would have made that trade. That's the
Yes.
difference, in my opinion, between them that and Lacob.
So, guys, if we look back at tonight, would you just say off night for Poole, big, off second quarter for Golden State? Are you here to, I guess what I would say is, are you here to complain about the Warriors and what they weren't? Or are you here to praise the Nuggets for what they were?
It's a mix.
I praise the Nuggets. I thought they were incredibly professional tonight. They wanted to showcase themselves against the best competition out there. They know if they're going to be a contender, they have to prove we can not only beat this team in the regular season, which they did last year 3 times, but that we're tough enough to compete late in games. Like Jokic was not happy when he was talking to Roz after the game about their performance in the last minute and a half. He thought that was really dog meat. And if it wasn't the pass he made, they could have ended up giving away a game. They definitely deserved to win.
Plus, they're coming off a loss to the Utah Jazz with literally no one by 21 with Jamal Murray returning.
Who was it in that Jazz game that was lighting them up? Because I think I saw some highlights of that.
Markkanen did pretty well.
I have the stat sheet right here.
Who was somebody was parking big time out perimeter shots.
Kelly Olynyk scored 21.
Olynyk.
And that's a Danny Ainge guy right there. Markkanen, had 24, and then Jordan Clarkson had 29.
Wow.
And then Malik Beasley had 15, Colin Sexton 11.
Colin Sexton is a nice. Colin Sexton, if he's healthy, could help them quite a bit. I mean, they're a bad
Rudy
team.
Gay did something.
That means all those guys are going to get
Rudy Gay's still playing. Wow.
Yeah, they're all.
You think those guys all get moved?
Oh yeah,
we're going to have to.
Danny Ainge was probably pissed they won that game.
Wembanyama like that.
Yeah. Okay, how convinced are you guys about Wembanyama being? Is he a freak of nature Porzingis and we're all obsessing, but he's going to be Porzingis? Or is he some cross between Ralph Sampson and, and who? KD? KD?
Giannis?
I don't know if he's got the game of the outside game of KD.
I think he's just a whole new
shots
thing.
fluid.
I mean,
he's
I'm a little concerned because of the 7'4". I mean, Rice said something the other day when we were driving back from Santa Clara. He said, I'd feel better about Wembanyama if he was 6'11". And I kind of agree.
Yeah,
he was. Is that why?
Just it's health. It's everything. Like yes, if everything goes right, he could be an all-time player. But the fact that he's 7'4", man,
but that's what makes him so special. He's 7'4". I mean, but he hits threes. He's smooth.
Like, doesn't the 7'4" thing make you guys a little nervous in a league where you're running up and down on the hardwood floor? No,
not today.
Well, did you guys think Porzingis would be better than he is right now?
No, he actually was better than I thought he'd be. And
really, a lot of people thought Porzingis, the zinger, was going to be incredible. Carl, what was your scouting report on the zinger coming out, and what do you think of him now?
When I first saw tape of him overseas, you could see he was going to be a good player. And I think at certain points he's been a good player. His issue has always been lateral movement because it restricts him defensively. It doesn't kill him offensively, although you can tell his body's taken on a lot of pain over the years. But his lateral ability just isn't good enough to defend. Whereas when I look at Victor's going to be able to defend his position and be able to switch out, get a hand up in the face, get a hand in the passing lane. and he's fluid enough to where he'll be able to make a play off the ball. I mean, just people say 7'4". I legitimately think he may be taller than that.
Yeah.
7'5".
That's Gobert.
That's Rudy Gobert.
7'2".
And let me just have a Porzingis with the one thing.
You see that
Porzingis
picture, by the way, guys? The guy on Wembanyama's left is 7 feet tall. So
So
I just want you to know that.
He's taller than 7.
Porzingis, what Porzingis never developed that we already see from Wembanyama is a post-up game. Like he actually, like Porzingis cannot put his back against the basket. Like he never developed a part of his game, and for someone that size, it's just so disappointing that he never developed the post game. Wembanyama's already shown that he can do that. He's already backing up. He's getting that ball in the post and making passes, dribbling, backing in, scoring. He's doing it all. Like it's very scary what he could do. It's just he just has to stay healthy, man. Whoever gets him, they're stoked. Because at a minimum, you're getting so much. You're selling out.
He's going to the Knicks, right? They're going to figure out a way to get him to New York. That'd be my guess.
Popovich already has that deal done.
I think
San Antonio.
Yeah.
He's got all the French boys.
Yeah.
Guys, we've been on for an hour and 20 minutes. We're going to talk a little Niner football. I want to give Carl and Cy and Bay Area Baller an opportunity. If you guys want to hang, feel free to hang. If you need to jet, feel free to jet. We're going to talk a little 49ers here in the final half hour before we get ready for our weekend. Cy, I've noticed you may want to check your fire alarm because I see there was some smoke in your area. Dear. Over here, and I'm worried about a fire maybe going on in your neck of the woods there.
I'm in Napa, so
I'm very concerned about forest fires.
Yeah. Larry, all I want to know is when are we all meeting at GOTS at a Warrior game? Cyrus, I know you know the best stuff on the menu because you get to go probably a little bit more than all of us. I want to go have a good time. I went there for the first time. It was a great atmosphere.
Let's do it.
Got to take this on the road at least one time.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I mean, seriously, we could put like 3 beers on layaway, pay some now, pay a little bit later, maybe get a loan from Danny, and we could maybe get 2 beers each. I'm thinking about maybe selling my car, so maybe we get 3 beers each. So it is an expensive arena, but it's awesome, and I'd love to get together. Yeah. Hey, we will be doing a lot of this throughout the season. We're not going to do every Warrior game, but we're going to do a lot, and we'll give Bay Area Baller, Carl, Red, Kylan, Cy, we'll give all you guys like standing invites on this thing.
Yeah,
we'd love to talk more with you.
Even my brother Steve will call in and have some good stuff to share about some of the questions that were talked about tonight, as far as rotations. I mean, he's a guy that had to do every 2 years,
Who's that? Who's that?
My brother, Steve.
Let's get Steve in the mix. Steve was our go-to guy in the finals. We'll definitely dust off Steve. And I love talking ball with coaches, Carl, because, coaches see it differently.
Thumbs down on Bay Area Baller. I mean, come on.
I say thumbs up on Bay Area Baller. I mean, the guy brought multiple jerseys. He was coherent. He didn't steal anything from the green room.
That's good. That's
he turned the table over.
He didn't insult Dan Coccimilgio's eating.
Did he take the raisins though? Did you take the raisins? No one gets that.
No, I didn't get that. I used to use a raisin smuggler line, but it was very off color even at the time. No, but Bay Area Baller, seriously, I did enjoy your breakdown, and you're welcome back. We'll definitely include you. And Bay Area Ballers will be doing stuff with our channel, so we're really excited for that as well. So, who would like to stay? And if you'd like to jet, no sweat. We're going to talk little Niners. Or do you have a final? You want to talk little Niners side? You want to stick? Yeah. Carl, you want to stick? You want to bounce?
My favorite 49er player is Gene Washington, number 18.
I love Gene Washington.
18, Stanford.
You now know how far back I go with the Niners.
Yes.
Okay, so you want to hang.
Brody was my first quarterback.
You're hanging on a Friday.
I'm hanging.
Why is John Brody not in the Hall of Fame? I'm always curious about that.
Wait a second. Right? You know what? A second.
The best golfer too.
You know what? I'm starting to. I think if we had a picture, and we could crop Bay Area Baller's face. And put it, freeze right there. Don't move. Just freeze right there.
He looks more like John Pay.
A little bit like Grant Cohn.
Pee Wee Herman.
A
Oh, Dan.
Are you still doing that show with them every
Pee Wee
Wednesday?
Herman. Come
Right,
on,
man.
that ain't right. Variable.
I'm actually more insulted by the Grant Cohn than the Pee Wee Herman.
Oh.
No, I'm just playing. No,
You don't
little,
like
a
Pee Wee
little
Herman,
Grant,
do you? That's-
Rye, what do you
Ryan,
think?
you're just
A little Grant Cohn?
Maybe a dusting of Cohn, but I mean,
Tiny
he's just,
bit. Tiny
basically
bit.
you're just saying he's a general white guy
I
around
can
the
see a little
same
cone. I can see a little cone, but I'm not, you know,
Bear baller swearing under his breath. God damn these assholes. All right.
Wait. This is the best
we bring in Cone Zone here so we can go a little negative on the Niners. Making
embrace
the
debate.
trade.
Wait, Dan, this is what you got to do. Dan, can you take the glasses off and turn your hat this way?
Oh, yeah.
Which way?
Sideways?
Sideways.
Sideways?
Yeah, turn
This
it
way?
sideways. Yes. And then do a goofy face.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Seriously, Dan looks like the guy, the Max.
Oh, you're not going to bring that guy in.
Oh God.
Yeah, that looks.
Wow.
That's Danny. The guy has an
That's
absurdly
right.
long neck, by the way. Look at the neck on that guy.
Okay. We're getting
All right, here we go. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a 30-second timeout to pay the bills. We'll be right back, and we'll talk a little 49ers after this on the Krueg Show. Larry Krueger here for Telmetrics. Thanks to Casey Bateman and the good people at Telmetrics. If you're an occupational therapist, if you're an orthopedic surgeon, a chiropractor, a physical therapist of any kind, Telmetrics is designed for you to use in your practice and will greatly benefit your patients. Telmetrics uses computer vision and artificial intelligence and provides a platform for outpatient rehab therapy services, both in the clinical and the telehealth environments. So using Telmetrics can improve your patient's experience and much more. So for all your sports injury needs, or if you're a physical rehabilitation specialist of any kind, make sure you use telmetrics.co, TELMETRIX.co. And thanks to Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics for being a proud sponsor of the Krueg. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Dan Coccimilgio. Dan is a buddy, and he is a phenomenal retirement planning specialist. And you can contact him today at securemoney.com or at his number 925-628-9966. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world right now, and you want to make sure that your money is secure. That is the key. Danny's got 25 years of experience, born and raised right here in the Bay Area, and he can help you get an immediate 10% premium bonus on your principal retirement account. So give him a call, 925-628-9966. He'll make an appointment with you, and you can sit down. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of a deal. He'll consult with you and come up with a strategy to get you going to where you want to be. Once again, 925-628-9966, securemoney.com on the web. And thanks to Tony Cassera and the good people at Cassera's Italian Menswear. They are housing the Krueg Show t-shirts, and they're a proud sponsor of the show as well. The Krueg Show t-shirt, the Krueg Show podcast t-shirt is available there at their store in Dublin. Their address is 7372 San Ramon Road in Dublin, California. And go see Tony Cassera and get yourself a Krueg Show t-shirt and support the show. And special thanks to our sponsor, New York Style Italian Sausage. That's right, NewYorkStyleSausage.com is their website. Phenomenal product, whether it's the breakfast sausage, the Italian mild, the Italian spicy, the chorizo. You cannot go wrong with New York Style Italian Sausage. Once again, NewYorkStyleSausage.com. Often imitated, never equaled.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner. That means no matter how busy you were, no matter where the hell you were, you came to dinner on a Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday dinner without sausage, it's like a church without God. You know, how can you go to church if you don't believe in God? You know, and along with the sausage also became the discussions. That was discussion night. You know, it wasn't a typical family that you sit there and you're quiet, you know, and you don't talk with a mouthful. Oh no, man. Italians talk when they're eating. Italians even talk when they're sleeping. And definitely we talk with our hands. So if we can't express it through our mouth, through our lips, we express it with our hands. So, And that's what sausage is, really. It's an expression, you know, that life is good.
So New York style sausage was started over 70 years ago. We are the largest producer of fresh Italian sausage on the West Coast.
What makes our sausage in New York style is really the recipe came from back east, from New York, you know, from Connecticut.
If you look at all of our labels, there's maximum 4 or 5 ingredients, which we're really proud of.
There's no preservatives, no MSG, fresh in, fresh out.
The pork comes in fresh, goes out fresh. There's never any freezing throughout the process. We've always used fine quality cuts. We're never gonna deter from that. It's one of the reasons why our sausage is so good. I guarantee you put our sausage up against anybody else's from a flavor standpoint, no one will beat it, hands down.
Hey, do yourself a favor and do me a favor. Go buy a package of the New York style Italian sausage. Guaranteed you will love it, guaranteed.
Krueg Show. All right, welcome back to the Krueg Show. We are an hour and a half into our live stream, having a good time on a Friday night. We did a lot of work today. Caught up with Jeff Chadilla from the NFL Network. Caught up today with the color analyst for the Kansas City Chiefs. Did a little preview of that. Caught up today with Todd Husak and talked a little breakdown on Christian McCaffrey. You can go to the Krueg Show channel on YouTube and check out all those interviews. And of course, tonight we're coming to you after Warrior basketball. If you're just tuning in, Nuggets get the win by 5, 128-123. The story was the second quarter. Golden State couldn't throw it in the ocean. They shot 28% in the quarter. They were down at half in this game by 18. They cut it to 10 at the end of 3, but it was too much to overcome. And Denver gets the win. Warriors back in action on Sunday at Chase against Mike Brown's Sacramento Kings, who roll in. And I don't know about you guys, but I love watching Warriors Kings. I mean, I went to Sac State, so I'm a little partial. My brother's a Kings fan because he's a judge up in Sac now, and his kids are all Kings fans. So I'm just waiting for NorCal to explode. And I think it would be great if we got a Kings Warriors, Warriors is the 1 seed, Kings is the 8 seed, first round playoff series at some point. The Kings were good when the Warriors were down. The Warriors have been very good and dominant, dynasty-like, and the Kings have been down. We've never seen like the Warriors and Lakers good at the same time. We've almost never seen the Warriors and Kings good at the same time. But I think that would be such a fun rivalry if we could get the Lakers to be good, the Warriors to be good, and the Kings to be good all at the same time. And then playing. There's actually, if you go to Sacramento, they love the Warriors. Most of the old fans up there are a little bitter that they have to order the NBA package to see the Warriors because they're still Warrior fans, right? They were originally Warrior fans. A lot of them want to stay Warrior fans. But the big rivalry in Sacramento is the Lakers. They hate the Lakers. They're big rivals of the Lakers. But I just think it would be so cool if we could ever get the Kings, the Warriors, and Lakers all good at one time. And I think if you're a basketball fantasy guy, and I'm not, my kid's playing, go with De'Aaron Fox because Mike Brown is going to put the ball in De'Aaron Fox's hands, and he is going to have free reign to run and gun. And you saw, I think he had 35 on opening night. They got some shooters around him. I think De'Aaron Fox can have a statistical monster season playing for Mike Brown. All right. Last hoop moment there. Now we're going to switch and talk a little.
Real quick, can I call out this asshole?
Call out assholes. Call out whatever asshole you want.
For the record, I didn't get crushed by the internet. It was Twitter and just a bunch of. It was honestly like a mob mentality, man. I kid you not. Like this one prick, aggregated this video clip of me from Locked On Warriors and made.
Did you like that? Did you see how I did that?
You did what? I don't know.
Oh, no, I'm just joking. Go ahead.
Oh, well,
yeah. Put Cy in the center there.
And accuse me like someone like people for some reason in Twitter think I have power, I have influence, I have wealth. I have none of that, folks. But nonetheless, like I had a whole mob coming after me. Assholes like John Michael Weisberg or whoever the fuck you are. Like literally like strangers, anonymous pricks just going in my DMs, calling me the worst things imaginable. And so to answer your question,
You're
John,
getting big, Si. See what happened? You're getting big. You know,
I don't know. It was
nobody
it was
goes
brutal.
after
It's
the
just-
nobodies. That means you're somebody.
I cannot express.
You're gonna have to get used to it.
Yeah, and apparently I can express a fucking opinion without people like John Michael Weisberg calling me out and saying I'm an asshole just because I don't like media proliferation, man. There's like 30 million fucking shows out there, and I just expressed something about preferring like shows by established media individuals, like not the average fan, and fucking this riled up a whole bunch of people. I don't think I'm an influencer, man. But anyway, so yeah, John, kiss my ass.
You've achieved a certain level, and now you're looking down on others, and people are calling you out.
No, I'm not. Definitely not.
Did I sum that up right? Did I sum that up? No, I didn't get that right. You've achieved a certain status in life, and now you're interested in crushing the little people.
No, not at all.
No?
And there is no more money.
Nick says, "Size awesome." He called dude out by name.
We're gonna take
Savage.
you out to have a good time, man. We got to take you out on Friday night to have a good time and let all that go, baby. Yeah,
I was just trying to catch up, Si. I was perusing your Twitter. So it's just like people are mad at you for saying that you prefer to listen to.
Yes, they're mad at me and Conor Letourneau because we were briefly talking about like I don't know.
Was it brought up by that Mavs Moneyball bro or something?
Yeah, whatever the fuck that asshole is.
And then his other guy, like another guy, it looks like
they just gang up on me, dude. And
you didn't say anything bad about the Krueg show, did you?
Fuck no, of course not.
Okay.
I didn't say anything bad about anyone. That's the weirdest part.
I'm joking.
I called no one out by name or anything. It's just people fucking like a lot of people got like really riled up by that.
I mean, like, dude, you came on and talked
Are you new media or are you old media?
Oh God,
I don't know what.
Seriously though, like you came on and talked Warriors basketball for hours with us after every playoff game. You didn't know who I was. I have no credentials or anything. Dan doesn't have any credentials.
Oh, come on! I have a ton of credentials. I got both of this stuff.
And former player.
And just so you know, Rye, he called me during the day during those shows and complained about you guys.
And it's like,
who are these guys?
No, seriously,
Dan,
I got a voicemail
Dan.
that I could play for you right now. Why do you have those ass clowns on your channel? I think here, wait a second.
Mostly Dan.
I'm going to play it off my phone. You'll be able to hear it. No,
let me ask you, see, and this is what this John Michael Weisberg. Why do you give a shit if I called out Blue Wire Pods? Why? Who cares? This is like a podcast network.
Maybe it's Kevin Jones.
A bunch of random shows on it. I just named. That was the one mistake I made. I named them in this little
hand down side.
Every one of their hosts got completely overly sensitive.
Here,
and
if you want to really have advancement in your career, Si, add a middle name. Okay, add a middle name. Do not be Cyrus Sotsis. It's boring. You be Cyrus Rodney.
John Michael Weisberg. Who cares if I dissed them? Why do you give a shit? Why do I have 1,000 messages in my DMs?
Maybe it's Kevin. Maybe that's Kevin Jones right there. Maybe that's Kevin Jones's burner.
John Michael Weisberg, you're a prick, man. You're a fucking asshole, dude. Like Blue Wires. But what do you work for him? Like, why do you give a shit? I got, dude. It wasn't a fun experience, man. And I'm sorry for.
I believe Max Crosby has his own show on Blue Wire. Let's be careful.
Oh gosh.
All right.
So we got Si in the middle. Larry, I need you in the middle. I want to see. We did a side profile of me. We did one of Eric. It's Eric, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We've had him in the stream for an hour and a half. You don't even know his name.
I see Blueberry.
I mean, the disrespect.
Hey, I just wanted to
blue balls.
Yeah, blue ballers. Great. Yeah, it's changed the whole show altogether. Oh, it's amazing how many more likes we have now that we call it blue ballers. Oh, it's amazing how many more people are in the chat.
So Larry, go back in the middle there.
Okay, hold on.
Back in the middle. I want to see Larry in the middle. Okay.
Wait a second. I gotta change the format. There we go.
There you go.
All right. So Larry, just kind of tilt your head a little bit to the side.
I want to say something real quick just before I let it go.
Now smile.
Larry, can I say something real quick here before we move on?
There we
go. The people that are like wondering why I'm riled up.
There's Larry getting married.
No, listen, man,
Danny, by the way, took my wedding photo and is now insulting the sanctity of my union with my wife on YouTube for kicks.
I remember Larry in those
I just
years.
want you guys all to know before you go invest your money with Mr. Bigwig over here that he's insulting the sanctity of my union with my wife. He's mad because I did not do mail order the way he did, and now he's mad at me. And I could have paid the postage and gotten the same thing Danny got, but instead I just decided to go the old-fashioned route. All right.
How does the mail order thing work? Is that good, Dan? Like, are you happy?
What's that?
With the mail order?
the mail. We're just joking. All right.
Right. We're just joking.
We're just joking. We're just joking. Honey, where's the meatloaf?
Yeah,
oh, no, sorry. Where's the meatloaf?
Need a complete timeout.
Where? Yeah, I'm doing funerals now. I mean, they really work well. There's a lot of the guys at the funeral, and the woman's on his shoulder, and she's like, and he's like, Will Ferrell, the best. Did I ever tell you guys I met Will Ferrell at KMBR?
Well, we both did that same morning, right?
Story,
yeah, great. He's sitting in our kind of like green room. He had just gone on with Murph and Mac, and literally I had watched the night before Semi-Pro, and I walk in there, and it's like 5 minutes to 9, getting ready to go on, and I walk back there in the we used to call the bullpen, and he's sitting right there, and he wheels around in the chair, and I see his face, and the first thing I thought to myself was Jackie Moon. So I go, Jackie Moon! And then he just vaults into the Jackie Moon character and starts doing almost like outtakes from that movie. I swear to you guys, he is the most, of all the superstar people I've ever met, the most absolutely unbelievable, down-to-earth, regular guy, Will freaking Ferrell.
So Larry,
totally regular guy.
You said Cy was earlier.
Well, a few years earlier, he came to KMBR with the morning show when John London was hosting, and he did a shot of tequila with us at 7 a.m.
That is awesome.
Wow,
it is awesome. Yeah, it was amazing. Love him.
All right, let's switch and talk a little Niners. Can we go for? Yeah, there we go. So Ryan and I have been down in Santa Clara talking to 49er people, and today
let Ryan in there. They let Ryan.
Yes, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And he actually gets to ask questions.
Amateur hour.
Yeah, seriously. And so, right, I'm going to let you kind of control what we play here because you have kind of all the video. We have interviews of the players that we did. There's some really good ones. My two favorite this week were Kamoko Toure and Dre Greenlaw. I asked Dre Greenlaw, the big old fat dip. I'm like, man, you get the Kobe going? He's like, man, it's grizzly. I got a little grizzly. And he's got the fat dip. And I'm like, how you feeling, man? How you physically feeling? You made like 35 tackles in the last 3 weeks. And he looks me right in the eye and he's like, I ain't feeling good. It's like his body's banged up because guys made like 22 solo tackles in 3 weeks and he's flying all over the place.
You see immediately after the McCaffrey trade happened, he was like, yo, my bad. Sorry for talking so much shit.
But Dre Greenlaw
I don't think so, MF. No.
Dre Greenlaw is a bad man.
Ward's playing.
Oh,
The injury report is pretty much clean. Bosa's playing. Trent Williams is playing. Oh, wait, no. Oh, wait, you're right. Never mind. Ward is still questionable.
Yeah, Jimmy Ward's
Which
playing,
Ward?
Mooney
Ward is
Mooney
playing.
Ward's not playing, I don't think.
He's questionable. I think he's going to play.
You don't think Mooney Ward's going to play? He practiced the other day, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think he practiced.
That's a good Ward, man.
But why don't we do this, right? We can either play an interview and let people watch that, or we could play some cuts from like the presser today with McCaffrey and talk a little bit McCaffrey. Why don't we play some of the McCaffrey cuts and maybe on the back end play our one interview on the way out?
Yeah, let's do it.
So what do you got? Well, I'll let you kind of lead the way since you have the sound and you can fire it on your end. But I'll say this. We love going down there. We're down there Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays for open locker room and get a chance to talk to the players one-on-one. It's really cool because you get a chance to kind of, at this point, I kind of feel like we know some of them. They know us by name. They know us by face for sure. And we've talked to almost every guy on the team at one point or another in the last month.
Aren't you guys cool?
What's that?
No, sorry.
Yeah, we're very,
you guys cool?
Yeah, we're kind of a big deal. I have lots of leather-bound books, and my furniture smells of rich mahogany.
Mahogany.
Yes. No, but go ahead, Ryan. Whatever one you want to fire here. But we have audio from Niner camp, either from today's press conferences or at the podium, or we could also do some of the stuff that we have from the locker room, and you can fire it on your end.
I'm gonna just play the McCaffrey presser. It's like 3 minutes.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, because that way we can hear the questions too.
We can talk about McCaffrey.
Good to be here.
Take us through the last the last 24 hours. When did you start to hear that something might be imminent, and how did everything fall into place from your standpoint?
Yeah, so it's obviously been in the air for a little bit. Try not to pay attention to it. I was kind of head down, trying to focus on the task at hand, and started to get a little bit more serious. And then, obviously I don't have a whole lot of control. So I let my agent and, Scott Fitterer, who is one of the best that I've been around as far as, handles everything so well. They were just very upfront with me and told me it's probably going to happen. I didn't know who to. Once again, I was just trusting God with the whole process. And, I got to say, couldn't be more fired up to be here, though. So thank you, everyone, for welcoming me. I want to also just thank everybody in Carolina. I don't know if I'll get another chance to do that. So it's, the whole thing happens fast. But I just want to thank everybody there. I have a home there and a lot of respect for everybody there, and thank my teammates and coaches. I didn't get to say bye to them, so they know I love them. But proud and happy to be a 49er.
When those rumors start developing and you hear a little bit of that, how much in your head, even though you don't have control, are you thinking there's destinations I would really like to go to, and where did the Niners kind of sit in that?
Well, I've obviously watched them for a long time. In my opinion, the best run game and one of the most explosive offenses in the league. And I think you just go down the roster and you look at all the guys. I think that's the thing I'm most excited about, just getting in the locker room, getting to meet the guys. But how could you not want to play here, as an offensive weapon? I'm extremely fired up. Obviously, I have a little bit of a history with Coach Shanahan, and can't express how happy I am to be here.
A little bit more of a recent history with some of those defensive guys, and you went up and met them in the locker room. So what's that kind of like also within 2 weeks? You're giving them tips on how they actually can tackle you.
Yeah, well, it goes both ways. It's one of the best defenses I've ever faced, and I'm happy to be on the right side of things now.
Factors would be that would determine whether you're ready to play this Sunday?
That would have to be, coach's decision, preparing to be ready and ready to roll, but that's, not my decision.
A taste of how daunting that might be just by going out to the practice and, listening to the verbiage and how they call plays and whatnot.
Yeah, the good thing about the game being on Sunday is that you still have 2 days. So, you can process a lot in 2 days and figure out a lot in a short amount of time and hopefully be ready to go. But, once again, I'll leave that up to them. But just my job to learn as much as humanly possible in the next 2 days and get ready to play a football game.
How do you think Coach Shanahan can make you a better player?
Well, I think I don't know if there's anyone better at putting guys in positions to have success and tailor into what they're good at. For me, I've watched him do some unbelievable things with some great running backs, and even the running backs in the room right now. I'm just excited to learn from them and to hear how Coach Shanahan coaches not just the running back position, but every single position on the field. It's something that, you kind of hear legends about. I remember in Carolina, we had a tight ends coach, Brian Angelico, who was with him for a while, and you just hear legends about how good of an offensive mind he is. And so to be here is exciting.
How compared you to Deebo Samuel in terms of your versatility? What are you most looking forward about when it comes to playing on the field with Deebo and both of you kind of giving teams fits?
Yeah, that's an honor to be compared to him, so I'm happy to share the locker room with him, and I think we can do some exciting things.
Bobby Turner. How familiar are you with him?
Yeah, go way back. He coached my dad back in the day in Denver, and obviously he's coached a string of incredible running backs. And so, even Coach Lynn, go back with him as well. So when they talk, I'm all ears. I'm just extremely blessed and excited to learn from them.
When you start hearing names of teams that could be interested, did you try to move it in a certain direction, or were you just a bystander?
Just a bystander. You don't have a lot of control. So for me, I was just kind of, hey, wherever I go is what's meant to be. And but I found out probably 5 seconds before you guys found out, and I was ecstatic. Yeah, I was extremely excited and happy to be here.
What did you change, if anything, after you had 2 seasons with the injuries? Did you change anything with your training or routine, or was it just like, I'm an NFL running back and this comes to the team?
Yeah, I think you're always adapting. Every offseason, whether you have clean season or not, it's a constant change in figuring out what's the best thing to do. And so I made some tweaks here and there, talked with some different guys, and it'd be a long laundry list of things. But I think every year I've made certain changes, and at the end of the day, it's an ongoing process. Every day you wake up and you kind of do a test to see how you feel, and whatever you need, you go get done. And that's how I approach it, taking it one day at a time.
All just happened, and you have 3 years of contract, whatever you have left. But in your mind, with 49ers, have you had a discussion about whether this is definitely a long-term situation with you and the 49ers?
I got here, found out last night at like 11:30. Got on a plane at 8 and practiced today. So I'm trying to get the playbook down. That's the only thing I'm focused on. Going to help this team win a lot of football games, hopefully, and that's where my mind is.
Your dad played here and in Denver for Coach Shanahan. Now you play here for Coach Shanahan. And you're coming back to Stanford area. What's the emotional impact for you and your family for this trade?
Yeah, it's special. You try to stay, as business as you can and one step at a time. But it is special. Even just being back in the Bay Area where I've had so many great memories, going back to Stanford. Having friends who are still here and knowing a lot of the guys in the locker room already. It all comes full circle, and yeah, it's special, and I'm lucky and proud to be here.
You started that playbook crash course on the plane already today?
No, I think I had to pass the physical first, and then I get the playbook. So I passed.
Feel as good physically now as you did in
19 and 20?
I feel great. Feel great.
What was it like to be on a team yesterday and then on a new team today with an entirely new outlook on the season?
It's a weird feeling. Yeah, it's a weird feeling. I don't know if you can prepare for it, but I'm here now, and once again, it'll all come. It's gonna be some new things here and there, but like I said, I'm extremely blessed to be here, and I'll get more comfortable every day, and definitely a different thing. But that's this game. That's the NFL.
Small sample size, but a couple guys that have come in here mid-season have talked about how special the locker room is. What have you noticed so far?
Yeah, it's amazing already. You can get a feel of the guys already, and everyone's been so cool to me. Coming up, saying hi, introducing themselves. Like I said, I'm happy to be here. Happy to be in the room with the running backs, with some great players. Share the locker room with some guys that I've studied over the years and watched tape on, and it's a surreal moment for me. And like I said, I haven't done a whole lot of processing of it yet. Just being right off the plane and having everything thrown at me at once, but. I'm lucky. I'm proud to be here, and can't wait to get to work.
All right. Thank you, guys.
There you go, a little Christian McCaffrey, courtesy of Ryan Smith, bringing Ryan Smith Productions. 916_49. I'd love to see Christian McCaffrey score in the red zone Sunday. Levi's will be on fire. Well, I'm not sure how much he's going to go. There was talk that he maybe would be, kind of limited to the red zone package, but then you can only have so many players up. So then if that is indeed the case, maybe they won't have him up because they'll want to have somebody who can be utilized, more throughout the game. I know the fans want to see him. I want to see him. I know you guys probably all want to see him. What'd you think of the presser? What's your takeaway?
Great interview. Great interview. And I do think you'll see him on Sunday. And I think you'll see him in red zone packages, even if he's just out there as a decoy. I think just putting him out there changes what the defense can look at, and Kyle will drum something up to think that the ball's going to McCaffrey and someone else will be wide open.
Bay Area Baller, you got a thought on the trade or what you just heard?
Absolutely. Larry, I'm fired up. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, this dude is an all-pro running back. You can also put him at slot receiver. He's Wes Welker in the slot. I'm excited. Now, if the Niners went and traded for a deep threat wide receiver, that would leave me scratching my head, right? Because we know Jimmy doesn't take shots down the field. But the run game, the offense in general, it felt like the offense needed a spark. Well, we got more than a spark. We got a lightning bolt in Christian McCaffrey. The guy was averaging 4.6 yards per carry on the Carolina Panthers. I'm expecting that to go north of 5, and I think it's just a phenomenal acquisition. I'm really excited. This is what the offense needed to take it to the next level.
So, Rye, what did you think? What did you think of the presser today? What did you think of the move? We haven't talked that much about it, Rye, but what did you think?
Well, quickly, I mean, it's analogous to the Warriors. I mean, it feels similarly to when KD came to the Warriors. Clearly it's not like, oh my God, guaranteed championship type thing, but just in terms of in your mind's eye, you don't really even have to think about it. You're like, okay, so they lost Harrison Barnes and they're replacing him with Kevin Durant. Perfect fit, like couldn't be more upgraded. You bring in a guy like McCaffrey, who, by the way, I mean, outside of the 2 injury-riddled seasons, he played like 98% of the snaps. The guy has unbelievable stamina. But what it does is it just puts everyone down. Debo, there's been so much pressure on Debo, and Debo, whenever their offense is stalling, it's like, get the ball to Debo, get the ball to Debo. And it's kind of like you look at Andrew Wiggins. Like, Andrew Wiggins wasn't meant to be a 1, but if you bump him down to like a 3 on your team, like not your 3rd option, 4th option, oh my God. Now all of a sudden, guys like Kittle, Ayuk, they're not afterthoughts, but like they have these roles and they will be the best in the league at those roles. And it's just, I mean, I agree with everyone that says you don't draft a running back in the 1st round anymore. You don't trade all this draft capital for a running back. McCaffrey's not a running back. McCaffrey's a weapon. He's the same as Debo. They're both weapons. He's as good, if not better, of a receiver than Debo Samuel. I know that sounds crazy, but it's just, he's probably a better receiver than he is a runner, and he's a phenomenal runner. So all of a sudden, it's like this interchangeable offense where, I mean, hell, I was playing, they already put him on in Madden. It's unstoppable. They have like the Debo package where you have Debo on one side and you have McCaffrey on the other side. Nobody knows who you're going to run into. You can motion guys out. Oh my God. It's just, even if he's a limited role, man, it just changes everything.
Danny G TV has become a new YouTube member, so we always give him a little clap. Thank you, Danny G TV, for joining us. Cy, give me your thoughts on either the McCaffrey presser or the trade acquisition. What did you think?
So the presser was fantastic. The thing with McCaffrey is, if you're getting the 2018, 2019 Christian McCaffrey, love it. I mean, that version of him is all-time greatness. I mean, I think
thousand.
Yeah, exactly. 2019, he was the 2nd player ever to do that after Roger Craig, or 3rd. I think Marshall Faulk maybe did it too. So if you get that version of him, amazing, right? I mean, they clearly needed something on the offense, because I'm skeptical of this Niners team, except for the fact that the NFC is just such garbage that if you're going to go for it, this is the year, right? And I think that's the mentality.
Right.
So you make a trade. But at the same time, it's like what Ryan said. Like with I know you called him a weapon, not a running back, but he is still a running back. He has still had 2 consecutive injury-prone seasons before this year. The Niners gave up a lot for him. Between him and Trey, I mean, that's a lot of picks. They just are poof gone. Like, I don't know how you make that up, really. So it's just one of those things where I think they had to do it, and I just hope it pays off with health, because.
And they kept him away from the Rams. All the reports are that the Rams were the other team.
Danny says, thanks for the shout out, Larry. Appreciate it. Absolutely. Welcome aboard. Thanks for being a member. Carl, what did you think? What did you think of the acquisition? What did you think of the presser? I mean, and there's people that are bringing up some negative aspects of this thing. Grant Cohn asked the question, is it prudent to let a coach on the hot seat trade 4 draft picks for another running back? He's questioning the compensation. Niners, for those who want to know the particulars, are sending the Rams a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 4th round pick next year, a 5th round pick in 2024, and they're getting McCaffrey. First of all, I totally disagree. You know, the old saying, if your premise is wrong, your conclusion by nature will be wrong. And I just think Grant's premise is wrong. I don't think Kyle is on the hot seat.
Right. That's a crazy premise.
But if I don't think if he was on the hot seat, I don't think they would allow him to make a trade where he trades 4 draft picks for a veteran player. So I think the fact that he made this trade is almost like proof that he's not on the hot seat. But Grant's working that narrative that Kyle's on the hot seat.
He's not. That's crazy. Also, this whole thing, the notion with they gave up a ton. I don't think they gave up much because they've still got 8 draft picks next year.
Yeah, that's a great point, Danny. And to piggyback that, what Danny's saying, the Niners lost Martin Mayhew to Washington. They lost Robert Saleh to the Jets. They lost Mike McDaniel to the Dolphins. They're likely to lose D'Amico Ryans this offseason in the next coaching cycle. He's that respected. That's going to be 8 third-round picks they get for compensation. And that's what makes this trade more palatable from the pick perspective. I think that has to be mentioned. Carl, give us your perspective on either the presser or the trade or what the Niners look like post-trade.
Well, 2 things I'll say. One, I'm never impressed with a presser. And particularly if a guy from Stanford's at the presser, I know I'm going to be impressed because Christian McCaffrey is an absolute man. He knows how to handle himself both on the field and off the field. He's going to be an amazing addition. I do respect what Cyrus said about the fact he's had a couple of years where he was not on the same track that he was on. But the benefit of that is the tires don't have as much wear and tear either. So if he's healthy, I mean, he's played 85% of the plays this year, the most of any back in the league. I think the 2 things that really come across, and Dan kind of mentioned it, he's going to play this Sunday. The question will be how much. I think the beauty is I don't think they want to let us know just how much of the playbook he's going to be able to absorb because we know he's a super sharp guy. And I've got a feeling that they may have known a little bit more than they might even tell us. But the reality is, even if he starts off in the backfield and then all of a sudden he splits out into the slot, like Dan said, a defensive coordinator has to now be aware. It does just become another weapon that scares the heck and the bejesus out of people. I mean, can you imagine if he gets the ball on a pitch sweep and all of a sudden Debo starts coming in the other direction?
Oh,
that defense isn't going to know which way to go. So you've got all of that coming. And back to the picks. When you get the 3 compensatory picks for having 3 minority personnel leave the franchise, and like you said, another one's coming, the 49ers weren't going to be able to sign all those draft picks and be able to use them. They have too many guys under contract.
Exactly. They can't use them all.
So the whole thing about losing draft picks, I'm a big fan of we can find talent either on the scrap heap or I can find it in free agency. The draft is just another venue to get talent. And there's no guarantee, as we know. So
plus, they don't want all those early draft picks because of the cost of they're trying to re-sign. You know, they got to sign Boza. They're going to have to probably restructure McCaffrey.
Also, I don't completely know the details of the money, but I know that one of the reasons why they were saying, oh, it's going to take like 2 firsts to get him is that the Panthers are eating like almost all of this money, aren't they? Like they're eating all the money for this year and part of it for next year.
This year it's only costing them $680,000.
Here are the details. So on the money part, McCaffrey cost the Niners a lot of draft capital, but he's only going to cost about $646K of salary cap space
minimum.
So they can fit him into the budget easier this year. They got about $5 million currently in cap room. So the sped up portion of the signing bonus and all that goes with Carolina. The Niners will have to decide next year about the 11.9 base, but they're probably going to have Garoppolo coming off the books. And I love this move for Trey Lance. I love it for today and tomorrow. I love it for today because I agree with Michael Irvin, who we talked to this week, and he was like, it's Philly, Dallas, and the Niners in the NFC. I agree. I don't even agree with Dallas, but I think Philly and the Niners, I think the NFC's wide freaking open. And I think this is their go time. They know it, and they're aggressive in their window, and I love that. But I also love this for Trey Lance because when Trey Lance does get healthy and learns this offense, man, to have two guys like Debo and McCaffrey who can be utilized in any number of ways and can make real impact plays from little handoffs and stuff around the within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, I think that just makes Trey that much better as a player when he hits the field a year from now.
But if you look at this year, though, Larry,
yeah, go ahead, Carl.
Let's be honest. What he does is he just made Jimmy Garoppolo more dangerous.
Oh, my God.
Because the threat of having game breakers on the field. I love what Ryan said. I love the energy that he brought with it. You are truly adding another weapon. And whenever you weaponize your lineup, particularly from a different level, and think about what this does for Elijah. He now gets to come in. He doesn't have
to relax and get healthy.
He gets to come in and be a game breaker when maybe the defense is a little tired because they've kind of been spread out a little bit. I mean, we know he's a little bit better between the tackles than McCaffrey might be, but it's just they've got so many weapons, and I'm just looking forward to finally seeing those weapons get loose. And I think this may help Shanahan even loosen up the strings a little bit because he's been a little bit conservative because he's trying to manage the team that he has because he knows who he has at quarterback. So
yeah, Kyle mentioned last night that he said after hearing of the trade, he said, he was preparing, all of his red zone stuff and preparing this and that. And he says, I gotta go in and change it all right now. So,
there's three areas of on a football team where you just can't have enough depth. And to me, that's pass rusher, corner, and weapons. You can never have enough runners. You can never have enough corners. You can never have enough pass rushers. And to add a player like this in the middle of the year and to keep him away from the Rams, because let's be honest, this is going to be a tough game to win on Sunday against Kansas City. They have to win either this week or next week. Could you imagine if they lose on Alumni Weekend to the Chiefs and then the Rams made this trade and now they have to face Stafford and Cooper Kupp and McCaffrey on the Rams surface down there in LA needing a win? I mean, your whole season could go up in smoke in a 10-day period. So I think they understand that. The other thing that I think is kind of interesting, tell me what you guys think of this. It's Alumni Weekend this weekend. You know who's coming back? Jim Harbaugh. You know what discussion has been all over 95.7 The Game and all over social media is how would you compare Harbaugh and Shanahan? And Harbaugh was 44-19-1, and Shanahan's 3 games under 500, and they're 500 this year. And I just think that this move not only makes the Niners better, makes them a more viable Super Bowl contender, but it also changes that narrative this weekend from Kyle versus Harbaugh to the 49ers. What are they going to be with Christian McCaffrey going forward? Changes the thing from looking back and grading to looking forward and hoping. I just think that that's a pivotal change. I think that's important that it's not become this referendum on what Harbaugh was, what Kyle is, and where the Niners are. This is now about, hey, what can the 49ers be? And it's all about what's coming down the road. And I think that's good for the fan base. All right, let's play one more. Do we have any more cuts that you want to drop in there, Rye, that are interesting? We're in our final couple minutes here.
What about Nick in the comments, man? I like what he says. Get greedy. Go for Odell Beckham Jr. What do you think?
Yeah, Nick says get greedy. Go for OBJ. He's a free agent. And then he says find a center to trade for. I kind of like Poe and Zakelj, the young kids they have behind Brendel. And I would not be surprised if they went to Poe or Zakelj at center for Brendel if Brendel continues to struggle. But as far as OBJ, that's an interesting one. He's got great ball skills. I just don't know how well he moves.
Why?
I kind of like some of their other receivers.
Brandon Ayuk's only getting 4 targets a game, besides last week when he went off. We don't have the targets to go around. If you're throwing OBJ 2, 3, 4 targets, he's going to start whining. He's going to start complaining.
It's going to become
may not be a fit.
Also, like, he's a sexy kind of guy people like to talk about, and it's going to be Cowherd's going to be talking about OBJ complaining about only catching 3 balls for 19 yards. It's and the last thing I'll say about the McCaffrey thing is I keep bringing up the idea of, like, you know, the NFL season. It's like, you know, you're going to lose players. It's like a Jenga stack, and you lose these players and you don't know which piece is going to make the whole thing crumble. The only two I could truly identify as, like, the Niners will not be able to win the Super Bowl if they lose these two guys, for me, is Nick Bosa and Deebo Samuel. Well, all of a sudden, I mean, I'm not saying, oh, I want, you know, Deebo could get injured and they'd still be fine. But, like, all of a sudden, their season's not over if Deebo goes down. This is like the best insurance policy of all time, you know, at the lowest end.
And you don't have to face this guy. And you change the narrative on the weekend, and you can fit him under the cap easily. And he's super excited to be there. And, you know, Lynch and Shanahan are both loving this player, and he's glad to be here.
His dad can teach him the freaking verbiage and play.
And if you want to do a deep dive on how the 49ers are going to use him exactly by formation and all, I got into a real deep conversation with Todd Husak earlier today, who's a former NFL quarterback who knows, you know, the game cold, and he just went through the X's and O's as far as how exactly they're going to utilize him, how he was best utilized at Stanford. So if you're into that angle on the thing, please go check that out. Todd Husak earlier today on YouTube.
Hey, Larry, you also brought up about the Warriors in uniforms, an interesting little thing I know you like about uniforms. They're going to be wearing on Sunday their 94
the black ones, and I was going to throw up everywhere.
The retro, and that was the last game that Ed McCaffrey played in the 90s.
I think the red retros with the white pants is the sharpest Niner uniform. I mean, I love that look. And I even love the all whites, but the red and the white with the white pants looks just so good. I mean, especially if you're watching it there, you're like, wow, the uniform really pops. They wore those against the Rams a couple of weeks ago. And just looking at it from the upper deck, I'm like, wow, man, look at this. This is is a cool look. Let's play one or two more cuts and then we'll bolt.
Okay, I'll play one or two more.
What do we got? Do we have anything from Komoko? Because
yes. Here, I'll play Greenlaw and who hits the hardest on the team.
Okay, here we go.
Like you're having fun when you're hitting guys. Are you having fun when you're hitting guys?
I love it. I love hitting people. I love pregame warm-ups when I get hit. I just love contact. So, it's just part of playing this game too.
If I said who's the biggest hitter on this team, who give me a list of the biggest hitters on this team in your mind?
I put me and Aziz up there for sure.
Absolutely.
Can't leave Aziz out. I mean, everybody kind of got a nick to him. Like if you let Hafunk go out there, he gonna blow somebody up too. And don't leave Jimmy Ward out. Jimmy will go out there and take somebody out too. So, I mean, that's just kind of our mindset as a defense. But I mean, if I'm gonna have somebody to go put a hit out on somebody, then it's gonna be either me or it's gonna be Aziz.
Okay, good luck on Sunday, man. We got to jump. Thank you.
Oh yeah, we were getting played off.
Yeah,
right. These are so much better than your press conference clips. So these are great, man.
Well, the press conference, that was just me pulling it from the Niners website. The other stuff is all us interviewing the players in the locker room.
Great.
Yeah. Do we have anything from Komoko? Because Komoko is one of my favorites. We walked up to Komoko Ture. He's from Rutgers. He's from New Jersey, and he just got a great personality. What cuts do you have from him, right? Because he said he had some great things to say about his other D linemen. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I'll play that one.
Okay.
He's the DNA of the scheme. He knows exactly what the scheme is supposed to be shown. So I watch him technically on how, if I make a mistake or something, I just watch him doing film studies. Okay, I did this mistake, and just watching film. Okay, he did this one because his footwork and everything looked just alike. He could make any kind of move, but you old lineman wouldn't tell because on his stance and everything just looked perfectly the same.
He's selling it. How about Samson? Give me a quick thought on Samson. What stands out?
Oh, tenacity. He has great motor, running to the ball, effort player, and he can make plays from outside, from the other side of the field.
Big Charles Menahue, who's looking fast in this game. He's lighter and faster than ever.
He came from Houston last year, different scheme, similar scheme like the Colts. Was able to unleash his full potential and play fast, and also improve on his athleticism and do what he's great at. And we could see like he's a great long arm guy.
You mentioned Drake. Drake just was wandering around here.
My God.
Give me your thought on the kid.
We call him the snake. He's the snake.
The snake.
Slithery snake. This guy is athletically, like, this kid is like, you don't see players like that. The kid is like flexible. It's hard to bring him down. And once he's figured that out, his body, oh my God, he's gonna be unstoppable. He's gonna be one of the players that we're gonna be talking about years to come. He's learning, and he's very slippery, and he's very, young, and he's learning the scheme. Like, as you see Charles, how he was last year to this year, he's just gonna be his same but more athletic.
All right, here's some exit interview questions. I asked him. I just have like these 5 questions I'm trying to ask everybody for the magazine.
Fire. Okay, let's get it. All right, favorite musical artist.
Huh?
Favorite musical artist.
Favorite music artist? Burna Boy, Lil Baby, Country, Eric Church.
Look at you. You're all
damn.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll keep it on 3.
Is this like, I feel like...
Lil Wayne back in the day.
Yeah, I feel like this is like Chris Kosaric. This is how he'd like you to answer questions. This is fast. All right, favorite movie or movie you've seen the most?
See, that's what I get stuck at, way by asking me that. Favorite movie? It doesn't matter if it's Disney or whatever. I could say Happy Feet.
I love Happy Feet.
Yeah, Happy Feet. Great.
All right, favorite non-football athlete?
Favorite non-football athlete?
Non-football athlete.
You.
There we go.
He ain't no athlete.
No, my ego.
Football athlete. That's good.
What's your sport? Do you like you what NBA fan? You a baseball fan? Hockey fan? What's?
Laker. I'm a Lakers fan.
Laker fan.
Kobe, my favorite player.
Okay.
Kobe. Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Funniest guy in the locker room.
Yeah, who's the funniest guy?
Funniest guy in the locker room. We have a lot of guys individually funny. Funniest guy. Oh, Poole. Poe's funny.
Oh, really?
Poe is funny.
Okay.
Poe, I just said you was the funniest guy. Poe is very funny. Nice, good sense of humor. We have
pretty funny.
Kittle. Kittle's pretty. Yeah, he's goofy. He's funny. Kittle's funny. You said Jawan.
Jawan's funny.
Jawan, yeah, Jawan.
Yeah.
Jawan, I haven't. Character. Yeah, me and Jawan, I haven't seen his goofy side.
What else you got?
Okay, very last one. Most famous person in your cell phone.
Famous person.
You can say whatever you want.
Famous person. Robert Mathis, JT. Yeah. It's a lot. And my teammates.
Yeah.
Kittle and
Kamoka's fun. Kamoko is fun. But yeah, we're in the locker room Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, breaking it down. And any other cuts? We have one of my favorites from a few weeks ago, Carl. We're interviewing Jimmy Ward, and I'm asking him, I'm like, do you like hitting people? How do you like hitting people? I always like when these guys, and he's like, yeah, I like it when you hit a guy in his ribs or his patella. He starts saying that. It's like, and he has this kind of little grin, like he enjoyed it. Jimmy Ward is one of my favorite, man. He is a football player through and through.
I have it, but I think I have to skip to the
area where he says it.
Yeah, he right before the interview, he's like, all right, let me get ready, and like drop down to his jock strap. All right.
Lockett, they're different receivers.
Gonna keep him on the outside with the safeties, how we cover. And he threw the
nice.
We switch some calls up. We're gonna be able to Huff caught a pick.
So early.
Age on the D end, if it's a double study, it's the coaches coaching them up.
The running back underneath, you give the young guys in your room to help.
Put your best foot forward and look ahead. And
part of your game do you enjoy more? It seems like you love blowing people up, but then you do have that man-to-man coverage ability. What do you think your greatest strength is as a player?
I like both. It just depends on the type of players I'm playing. Some guys I like to do both. Like if I'm playing against a guy like DK or Lockett, I like to cover him, but I also want my coach to call a play where I can, just blow them up to let them know my presence here, and they'll be scared to catch the ball if they know somebody right there is about to hit them in their rib cage or their patella. A lot of guys don't get up too fast if you hit them in the right spot of the knee or you hit them in their rib cage. That's just my mentality. But I love the cover too.
Hey Jimmy, I don't even know what I asked. Wait, I have one cut about him playing with the club from this week too. It was during the quote unquote media gangbang, as Lair says, where everyone's huddled around. So it's not really personal. You can maybe get one question off, but dang it,
man, patella,
that was crazy, man.
I've had a patella injury, and I'm telling you, that is painful. Oh man!
With the club,
the specificity was pretty
I don't think I have a choice, but I played with a club before.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is it? How does that change your game when you got to have the club out there?
I guess I can't hold a guy. I shouldn't get any PIs unless I cag him or trip him up or something.
That's the last of those.
Hey, what's your mic say there, Larry? What's that on your mic? Is that TalkSport or?
Yeah, TalkSport.
TalkSport. Yep, we're working for TalkSport out of London and the Gridiron out of London. And
okay, that's a good one to go out on because I asked Kittle was being obviously it's his whole national tight end day. I asked him I don't have my question in it, but I think I said something like, hey, I'm working for London and have you had put any thought into having an international tight end day? Stupid question, but I just got to get one in there with Kittle.
That was good stuff.
I would say they call, the NFL calls it National Tight End Day. It should be international. I think it is. As long as you have access to a football to be able to spike it or a nice crispy Bud Light of your choosing, I think that you can participate in National Tight End Day. So for everyone out there, just go have fun with it responsibly.
Love Kittle.
Man, we have a good time in there for sure. And there's, I will say this: Christian McCaffrey's walking into a room that's focused, that's intense, but that's united. Bill Parcells in his Hall of Fame speech talked about the locker room and how it can be a great place and how it can be a dark place with guys in the corner kind of singing their own tale of woe, or there's a lot of backstabbing and that kind of thing. The Niners have a really good room. They got a great culture. So, we'll see. We'll see if they've suffered a lot of injuries, and God knows that the whole thing's going to have to slow down, or it's just it's going to be a long year. But if they can get over some of these injuries, I think they're definitely united. They're definitely better. They don't think of themselves as a 500 football team. They're 3-3, and they've lost to Bears, Denver, and Atlanta. I mean, they haven't lost to big time teams, but they view themselves as a big time Super Bowl contender and a major contender. Big time team in the league. So we'll see. We'll see this week.
I gotta ask you and anyone else who wants to chime in for this question, because I'm curious, is the pass protection good enough? And is Jimmy, the offense has all these weapons now, incredible weapons, but is Jimmy G good enough to get the ball to them and lead them to the Super Bowl?
It's a really great question. I would say that this McCaffrey addition is the perfect addition because there's they have Ray McCloud and they have Danny Gray. They both can get deep, but Ray is got questionable ball skills. He drops some balls. He's got some fumbles. He saw him drop a key ball this last week. Danny Gray's a rookie receiver going through the rookie trials and tribulations and that go along with being a rookie receiver, and most of them don't contribute that much. So they don't really have that vertical threat without those two guys. Everybody else is kind of more of an underneath player, but they don't necessarily with the tackle injuries and with Jimmy's lack of arm strength, his deep ball kind of hangs a little bit. They need dynamic playmaking, but they need to keep the ball out of the air. And so I think McCaffrey gives them the ability to be more dynamic, but more dynamic, on safer plays, jet sweeps, orbit motions, end arounds, reverses, throwing the ball within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. So I just think that he gives them a dynamic playmaker, but then they don't have to connect down the field because they may not have the tackles to stand up against pass rushers to give those receivers time. And those receivers might be kind of low percentage, as far as trying to hit. How many passes do you want to commit to a downfield throw to Danny Gray or Ray McLeod when you got Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, now McCaffrey? So
I think this opens up
a dynamic weapon.
I think it opens up where Jimmy's strong, which is the middle of the field, because if you put McCaffrey on a swing pattern, now that linebacker's got to leave. Now you got Kittle that can, do a little turnaround, 10-yard turn over there, or Debo crossing over. I think it just opens up the middle, because if those guys, if they plug the middle, you're just going to swing it out to McCaffrey, and he's going to get you 7-8 yard play.
Yeah, he's an awesome. Also, another thing that I haven't really heard touched upon that much is, because they built this team around Trey. They were clearly going for more of a power inside running scheme than they've had been in the past. And if you think about 19, they got explosive plays. They had a good offense. And a lot of those explosive plays, surprisingly, actually came from the run game. It'd be Mostert or Breida or Tevin Coleman breaking through and just all of a sudden having a 45-yard touchdown. They don't have the personnel to do that. Now they do. Now they have a running back that can actually run outside zone correctly and be a threat to explode and break 50-yarders, which just completely, changes everything.
Hey, let's bolt for the door. It's 12:15 on a Saturday morning, and you guys have been awesome all night. We've been going for 2.5 hours. Hey, let's just go last comment around the chat, and we'll say goodnight. Carl, we'll start with you. Warriors lose. Talked a little Niners. Any direction? Any comment you got? What's your final thought of the night?
Third down completions. Throwing it out to the back, picking up 4 yards. Sticks keep moving down the field.
There you go. Cy, you got a final thought on the evening, either Warrior or Niner related?
My one concern with the Niners, and we saw this in the last game, is what happens when they're down and they got to start throwing the ball and they got to start, no huddling and moving fast. And Jimmy G failed that test big time the first time he did that. I hope McCaffrey helps turn that around, because they might be in another situation where they're down 28-14 and they got to get some touchdowns fast. And that's where Jimmy G is just flopped, and I really hope they can overcome that. So, but you guys encouraged the shit out of me, man. You sold me so good on McCaffrey. Like that segment, I was just giddy, dude. I was like, all right, this is a great deal. Sold, done. Good job. So,
Rye, you got a final thought on the night?
Just exciting stuff in the Bay Area right now. It's awesome, and good for Bochy.
All right, that does it for us. No, I'm just kidding. Bay Area baller. Bay Area baller. You got a final thought? What is it?
I do. Yeah, I think the Niners are Super Bowl contenders, but to win a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, what do you need? You need a really good defense. And I think we have that. As soon as we get a few guys back, sounds like we're getting a few guys healthy returning for this Chiefs game. That's good news. But you need a good defense. You need a good run game. And that was a bit of a question mark. And hopefully that's going to be answered with the acquisition of Christian McCaffrey. And, we spoke about the injury concerns briefly. What I'm hoping is the grass at Levi's will keep him healthier than the turf at the Carolina Panthers Stadium will. I know injuries can happen on grass. They can happen on turf, but the percentages say you're more inclined to get injured on turf. So Niners are taking a good step forward, improving the roster. I think we're Super Bowl contenders.
Good stuff. Hey, man, we're really glad to have you in here for the first time, and appreciate you stopping by. Danny, you got a final thought on this thing?
Oh, he must have muted it when he farted.
What the hell?
It's still muted.
There we go, guys. Final thought. On here.
What is going on?
Hey.
What's going on? Dan, can you hear us? I keep muting Danny and Go ahead, Dan. Go ahead. We're fucking with you. We're fucking with you. Hey, by the way, it wouldn't be a live stream, and Barry Baller doesn't know this, but it wouldn't be a live stream if we didn't ask to see Faith and Charlie.
Buster.
Hey. There they are.
Hi, guys.
All right. So
there's Faith. Where's Buster? Buster.
Come here, Buster boy.
Buster.
Hey,
Is Buster still alive?
Hi,
yeah,
puppies.
Come on, Busters.
There's Ringo, by the way. That's Ringo.
Oh,
Ringo just ate a pile of shit the other day. We could tell that story.
Did he really?
Yeah,
It's I've been like, it really kind of changed the way I look at him. But it's not his fault. It's not his
He
fault.
just picks it up and just swallows it, huh? Is that what he
He's
does?
never done it before, and I think it might have been human shit.
It's really bad.
Where did human shit come from?
Because I live right off the BART train in the mean streets of Lafayette.
Oh my god!
Or like, homeless people.
Human shit. Oh my god!
I think so. I let him out.
Okay, this show's going downhill real quick here. Come on, man.
Transition from shit to shit. Danny, you got a thought?
Hey, I'm going to get in my Sergeant Hulka chair here, and I'm going to just tell Cy, hey, Cy, the next time these guys get on you in the chat, just tell them, lighten up, Francis.
Dude, like I was getting racist DMs in my thing, man.
Lighten up, Francis.
That ain't right.
People were calling me like sand N-word. Like it was brutal, dude.
Oh, that's
There's
bad.
a lot
That's
of
bad.
nasty people out there, dude. Yeah,
Can
this
you
is rough.
block them?
Thank you.
Can't you block them on Twitter?
Yeah, I block. Oh yeah, I blocked like 500 people today, probably.
Oh wow!
Just blocking.
Pull out your collar.
Right?
Sometimes you need to block. You're either with Cy or you're against Cy. No, but go ahead, Danny. Do you have a final thought?
That was his thought.
That was my final thought. Lighten up, friend. And I'll just say, I will say, just know that the Warriors are going to lose 20 plus games, and this is one of them.
Danny, what can you do to bring Buster to the phone? I got Buster to the mic. These guys got to see Buster's face. This dog's got an incredible face.
Okay, I also actually have a video of him doing it.
Buster, come here, Buster. Look at this. Look at this face. This is a great face. This is a great dog face. Here we go. Is that a great dog face or what?
That is absolutely.
That is a great dog face. Oh, that is a great dog face. All right, I will say my final thought is I'm a little disappointed on how flat Golden State looked in Game 2. I and I'll give Kerr, the one thing I love about Kerr and Myers, Kerr's honest, and there's no question they need to kind of figure out the minutes. They may have. I mean, there's that old saying, you can never have too much depth. The honesty of that statement may get tested this year because they have so many guys, and it's going to be a nightly challenge to play the right guys, and delving out minutes is going to be a huge debate topic all year long. But little disappointed in Golden State, little disappointed in Jordan Poole. As far as the McCaffrey thing, very encouraged by the McCaffrey move. I don't think the price was severe. I like the aggressiveness of John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, and bring on the Chiefs. I think Sunday is going to be very, very revealing. Any way it shakes out. I like the Niners to win a close one. I'm saying 27-24. But, man, Mahomes scares the hell out of me. So
What is Sunday, by the way, dude? Because you got the Niners, Chiefs, and Warriors, Kings.
I know. I'll be taping Warriors, Kings. And what time? What Niners are 125. What time's the Warrior King game? 7:30?
No, I think it's actually a little earlier. Let me double check. It's like on the 5 o'clock range.
But it's at home, right?
But it's at home. Yeah, it's this Sunday. Here, I got it right here. It's Sunday at 5:30.
5:30.
And I just want to add two more quick things. One is I do think the Warriors in the first half tonight, that kind of resembled more the letdown I was expecting coming off a championship season. Yeah. It's almost like they postponed it a game because in that Lakers game, you had the Draymond Poole thing, and they were kind of riled up for that. They wanted to show that things were good, and they were awake. They were not awake in that first half today. I mean, they were not hustling. They were not aggressive. And I also think
ring night.
Exactly. And I think you can take 5 minutes off of Wiggins' playing time for games like this. Like, I mean, he was awesome. This is not disparaging him, but he played almost 40. You could give 5 of those minutes somewhere else, but they'll figure it out. I'm done. Thank you. I love you guys.
I'll also say this: tomorrow, big day in college football. My college football pick of the week. I'm taking UCLA on the teaser to the under. Ooh. So that means give me the Bruins plus 12.5 and under 77.
Oregon?
They're playing the Ducks. I think the Bruins might win outright. I think it's Chip Kelly's return to Autzen, and UCLA is running it well with Charbonnet, and DTR is a stud. I like what I'm seeing out of UCLA offensively. So give me UCLA plus 12.5 and under 77. Tease it up, go under, take teaser and throw it on UCLA. I think UCLA definitely hangs within a couple touchdowns in that game.
Hey, we didn't get to any baseball because I've seen Carl's basketball and his football. I haven't seen any of his baseball collection.
Carl's a baseball guy too.
Yeah, I know. Look, he's got it all there.
Larry, I want to throw it out there. I saw your tweet about some information you got about a potential acquisition of Aaron Judge.
Right.
And
right.
baseball, I'm Barry a baller, but baseball was more of my thing growing up. I played in the same baseball academy as Jock Peterson, Marcus Simeon, some Bay Area guys. But so I know a guy or two, at some level of the Giants organization, and he gave me the same info that you got months ago. In fact, I was on this Larry Krueg show in the chat typing in, "Hey, I heard Judge is the guy." This, when the Soto rumors were flying around, I said, it ain't Soto who they want. It's Judge is the guy they covet. So I wanted to mention, I'm hearing the same things you're hearing, Larry.
Yeah, just to expand on that for the people who didn't see it, I tweeted out, hey, it's like 95% chance that Judge winds up a Giant. But I think ultimately the real story here on Aaron Judge is that he's atop their list. They're atop his list, but the Dodgers are also on the list. And there are some concerns about how competitive are the Giants going to be, how well we fit in with Cap and the clubhouse. So it's not a done deal, and the Dodgers could still swoop in. But from what I've been told, he doesn't like New York. He's unhappy there. He's unhappy with Cashman. He's unhappy with the fans. He's coming west. So he's coming west.
His wife went to high school with him in
Linden, which is NorCal.
She wants to come home.
Yeah, so I think he's coming west. It's a matter of Giants or Dodgers, and I don't know what the price tag's going to be, but if the Giants bust out the money and they're the top bidder, he's coming here. That's what I've heard. And if he doesn't come here, he's going to the Dodgers, and he's not going back to the Yankees.
What if he says he wants to come, but he says he doesn't like Kapler? What would that be like?
I think that would be a dream come true for the rest of us. And we got somebody who could knock off Kapler on his way out the door.
Bring back Dusty.
Personally, I'm sick of Kapler. I don't like Kapler. I think Kapler's a weirdo. Seriously.
Also, what's kind of good though is that with Bochy being in Texas now, it might be easy to get rid of Brandon Belt if
Belt's a free agent. He'll probably sign with Texas.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and Mad Bum will probably get traded there, and Wotus will probably be his bench coach.
Yeah.
And
Buster's going to unretire and join the Rangers.
Danny will be doing pre and post game.
I'll be doing Texas Rangers, man. I'm going to get me a Texas Rangers hat, man. I am. Gee, I love Boch, man. He's just a regular good guy, and you
don't
compare him to Kapler.
Are you crying?
Compare him to Kapler, and it's like the press Kapler. Well, yeah, we had that planned. Yeah,
are you get a beer? Get a beer. Do you like my Boch? Get a beer.
Yeah, I think he was forced out without being forced out.
Yeah, he was.
There was implications.
Look, I put out a tweet today.
You put out a tweet?
I put another tweet out today. Here's my tweet. Let me see if I can pull it out.
Now we have a man reading his own tweet in a 55 and over community after midnight. I just want you guys to know we're all breaking our maiden with this moment. Here we go.
Let me see.
Yes, Larry Krueger. Was it 12:30 on a Friday night, and you were listening to a man in a 55 and over community read his own tweets? Yes, that was me, Your Honor.
Now, here's
You're going
the thing.
to jail.
I think it was something to this effect. I said,
Did you? Where's your? I thought you were reading your tweet.
I can't find it. I can't find it. But anyway,
you can't find your own tweet.
I don't know how to pull up my own tweets. I just
okay. God damn it!
So here it is.
I'm going to go to your own. I'm going to your Twitter right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
I'm sick of this crap.
It's about Farhan being. It's about Farhan being intelligent.
This is what Danny tweeted. As I look at Bochy, I'm reminded of not only what a great manager he is, but just a regular guy. I know Farhan is extremely intelligent, MIT grad, in parentheses, but is he too smart for baseball? Hiring Kapler, who follows his analytics, but is strange and unrelatable. Not good if trying to attract free agent stars. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Well,
I think
written.
Kapler is just
you're like the Ernest Hemingway of Twitter.
That's got to be every character used there.
I use every character.
And there was no, and stars could have been STARS. There was no need for an apostrophe there.
Well, I had one character left, so I put it in there.
I'm just saying. I mean, come on.
Kapler weird, man. You don't like feeling that?
We can't go down this road.
Hey, right. Put up the picture of Kapler on the beach. That's
nothing pisses me off than the wrong use of an apostrophe. All right.
Now look at that. That's Kapler. Can you see any other manager in baseball doing that?
Wait a second. We'll put that in the center square.
You think Aaron Judge wants to come? Hey,
that was a long time ago, right? I mean,
this is the dude's character, man. He's a narcissist. He's all full of himself.
Dude, that is from a doubleheader in August. He was in the dugout. And that is the part about this that's the most disturbing. That was from a doubleheader in August against the Nationals. All right, guys.
Also, look up Gabe Kapler coconut oil interview, Philadelphia.
Yeah, can you play that? You can actually play that.
We got to end this thing.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Careful, whatever you bring me getting handled. I answer to no one, I don't need to hassle. Yeah.